Irsay has left a manifold legacy, one that most people could only dream of.
And you could have it all. My empire.
Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Former players and coaches are now also reacting, including former Indianapolis Colts head coach Tony Dungy, who says the death of owner Jim Irsay has him, his family, and the city shaken.
It was a total shock, something that was unexpected and obviously a very sad moment for our family as well as all the Colts family. Just hard to believe.
Dungy won the lone Super Bowl for Irsay and the Colts in 2007. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears is expected to announce murder charges against Zachary Arnold in connection with the death of his 5-year-old daughter earlier this week. That announcement coming this hour. Arnold's initial hearing will be held this morning, too. A woman has also been charged. Hopefully, you didn't go to bed too early last night.
He'll take it. He'll backpedal a three for the win. And goal! He got it!
The call on TNT of Tyrese Halliburton's shot to send the game to overtime. The Pacers ending up with another remarkable come-from-behind victory, winning 138-135 in the Garden. Halliburton finished with 31 points. Aaron Nesmith added 30 more. Indiana is up 1-0 heading to Game 2, which is tomorrow in New York. Traffic on the 5's Matt Baer. What's going on?
All right, Jared, looking at southbound 65 closed right now between Boone, Clinton County line, and State Road 47. That's about 6 miles north of Lebanon area, closed because of a crash. On the south side, northbound 65, stop-and-go traffic from Keystone Avenue up to the south split because of road construction, and crash cleanup continues on the exit ramp from southbound 65 to 465. The ramps are open but partially blocked. Traffic sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
A forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Good morning. Cloudy and cool, blustery at times with a few spotty showers this afternoon. Today's high 60. Partly cloudy, cooler with areas of fog overnight, a low of 44. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, just because you didn't participate doesn't mean you don't get to celebrate.
No, that's true. You went to bed. You missed out. You do not get to watch Game 2. Those are the rules. I don't make them up. That's just what they are. I'm sorry. You chose to go to bed. You missed an amazing game, an amazing overtime. So now you don't get to participate in Game 2.
Okay, so I made it to when they were down 14. And now here's part of the problem. I don't have the cable. So I had to walk over to my old man's house. I had to walk all the way across the lawn.
Yeah.
Get over there and watch the game. They're down 14.
All the way next door.
Well, they're down 14, and it was whatever it was. It was after 10:15. I'm like, I got to go to work in the morning. I'm going to get ready to go to bed. So I go.
You lost the faith.
It wasn't I lost the faith. It was like they're down 14 with, 2.5 minutes to go in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this game is over.
Right.
It's done.
You lost the faith in the team.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
No, I have the faith, because if I didn't have the faith, I wouldn't have made that. See, most of our audience knows this. I have a sizable payout. I am 7 wins away now from
This is true.
At 125 to 1 of the Pacers to win the whole thing. So I got a lot riding on this. So I think I was just so drained at the thoughts of seeing potentially that 125 to 1 payout go out the window that I said, look, I got to go to bed, I got to get ready. And then all of a sudden I lay down.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I guess the phone buzzed or whatever. And it's my old man, and he's like, hey, they're down 2 with 22 seconds to go. I said, you lie.
And you didn't get out of bed, and you didn't go back over.
What was I supposed to do? Get back up and walk all the way over there? And so I thought, well, that was fun. That's cool. They came all the way back. They'll miss the shot at the end, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, they hit a 3 and 1. No, wait, they hit a 2 and tied. I was like, speak English, dude. What is going on here?
It was amazing. That comeback that they had, that 14-point deficit that they just one after another were crushing it. And then when it came down to that buzzer beater, Jim and I were laying in bed, and Tyrese Halliburton put that up, and the way it bounced off the net and then sunk, and we just both sat up in bed. And, oh my gosh. And then, of course, they said, okay, no, his foot was on the line, 2 points. We're going into overtime. So exciting.
So then I got to make a decision, right? Because now I got to make a choice, because it's close to 11 o'clock at this point. And I got to make a choice. Do I then get up and walk all the way? I got to tell my wife I'm getting up. I'm going back over.
Yeah.
This could all be that they get blown out. That seems like a lot of effort. I thought, no, they've clearly played much better with me not being there.
Right.
So I'll just do my part for the team. And they end up winning that game in overtime. And I'm almost a never go home early person. But thank goodness I did, Casey, because that was really what pushed the team across the finish
You're
line
taking
last night.
full credit
Me
for
not
it,
being involved in any shape, form, or fashion.
I think the best part of it was just seeing, well, besides the win and the emotional day that, everybody in Indianapolis had with the announcement of Jim Irsay passing, and then to turn around and have the Pacers win that game and just stick it right in those Knicks' faces.
There's many layers to it, right? Obviously, that's one of it, is that it is the New York Knicks, and there's such a history between these two teams in Madison Square Garden, where there's such a history between these two teams. And, like, you're watching that game, and even as the Pacers are losing, you know, when you hear the organ as the team crosses the 10-second line for the defense, and it's like you're transported back to being 10 years old again when it's Hicks versus Knicks, and it's Reggie Miller, and it's John Starks, and it's like you're watching this, and it's in Madison Square Garden, and time is like standing still. You're being moved back to a better, simpler time. By the way, did you see that poll I sent you for Super 70 Sports that we got to get into later about whether you would take what people would pick, 1985 or 2025? That was fascinating too. But it's like, even though they're losing, you're like, this is so cool, because for these moments in time, you get to become 10 years old again. And then with Halliburton doing the looking at it right now on the news, him doing the choke sign like Reggie did, and it's just there's so much nostalgia in this series that it doesn't even really matter whether they win or lose, but it is cooler for me at 125 to 1 if they would just win 7 more games. You think I'm insufferable now. Wait till that payout happens if it does.
Well, I think one of the best parts was just, did you see the Jimmy Fallon clip?
With Chuck Lofton, right?
Yeah. I mean, check this out.
Tomorrow night, the Knicks face off against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be such an intense matchup between New York and Indiana. Check out this promo I saw today.
It's Knicks versus Pacers on TNT. The series tips off in New York City. And sitting courtside, you'll see all the stars of NYC. Like Spike Lee, Timothy Chalamet, Ben Stiller, Lenny Kravitz, and Bad Bunny. Then the series shifts to Indiana, and you'll see all the stars of Indianapolis, like Mike Pence, his brother Greg Pence, Karen Pence, local meteorologist Chuck Lofton, a spare tire from the Indy 500, and the woman giving everyone a little Indiana fever, County Treasurer Barbara Lawrence. Don't miss the action.
Yeah, so I mean, look, what a great thing last night for the city. What a great thing for nostalgia. That is what a huge win. And we were talking last night with the Irsay stuff, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But it's like we don't do a lot of sports on our show, but we do cover sports when they transcend, into society as a collective, when they impact the masses as a collective. And I told Casey, I said, this was so positive last night for our city that we got to make this the lead story, because there's hundreds of thousands of people that woke up today, they're going to work today, that are in a better mood, they're going to be more productive, they're going to be happier because this happened, and that is worthy of being a lead story on a news talk station, even if we're not a sports talk station.
Well, when you hear, that clip like from Jimmy Fallon making fun of Indianapolis and, they've got all these stars in Broadway and New York City, and then, Indianapolis. And really? This week belongs to Indianapolis. Our sports teams are the talk of the nation. When you think about it, you've got, the Colts, the Pacers, the Fever, Indy 500, everything. It is all happening this week, and it is all happening here.
All right, so they, I guess they've passed the raise the national debt by $20 trillion bill. That's what they should have named it. The raise the national debt by $20 trillion bill. Should we talk about that when we come back?
Yeah, and Thomas Massey had some stuff to say, didn't he? Of course he did.
You can always count on Massey to be the one voice of honesty and reason.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Colts owner Jim Irsay has died.
It is impossible to overstate the impact that Jim Irsay has had on the city of Indianapolis.
Now we're world champions.
Monument Circle lit up in Colts blue and white.
Love this city, love the state, love this football team.
Leaves a city that is far larger, more vibrant, and nationally known due to his thumbprint on it.
Remembering Jim Irsay, 93 WIBC.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 61,995, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Adventure is calling. Life Church invites kids ages 4 years old through 5th grade to True North, a fun-filled vacation Bible school where they'll discover how to follow Jesus, our ultimate guide. Join us June 9th through the 13th for games, music, crafts, and Bible stories that point kids to God's truth. It's completely free. Register now at lifechurchin.com. Life Church, leading kids to Jesus, the true north.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it. Guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Heat and cool places where ductwork won't fit using Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits. You can even wrap them to match your decor.
Find out more at AbsoluteComfort.org.
Casey, great news.
Yeah, what's that, Rob?
The national debt is about to go up by $20 trillion.
That doesn't sound like it's great news to me.
Well, Trump said it is.
Oh.
It's big, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
The national debt is going up bigly and beautifully. And boy, these Republicans, they are just in love with themselves and they're treating some work better than other work. They're complicating the tax code. I mean, they are checking all the boxes on this one, Casey.
So the House passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It was slim margin, 215 to 214. When did that happen? Was that in the middle of the night?
No, I think it was this morning, actually. Okay. I mean, as we said, this show, Casey, do we know it or do we know it? We said it doesn't matter what huffing and puffing, Chip Roy and the rest of those Freedom Caucus people are going to do. They're going to cave like they always do. They're going to get some minor concession, and they're going to declare it some big win. And all they got was some change in the Medicaid work requirement, which they're moving that up. Think about that. Our country has been operating for years now where you can get free air quote, right, free money from the government, free health care from the government, and you're not even required to pretend like you're trying to participate in society. Oh, you're breathing. Here's free stuff. Sure, you can walk, you can lift things, you can work at the FedEx or the Walmart or anywhere else. Nah, you're here. Here's your free insurance.
So Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, he secured that win, and, well, he's calling it a win, and he called it a return to morning in America. Of course, he's claiming victory over this.
Okay, so let's go back. It was not that long ago that our nation's debt, I saw this yesterday, I can't remember what the year was. I'll look it up here while I'm doing this, that our nation's debt was $10 trillion. National debt. How did you guys do this before there was the internet? Like, how did you guys do? Tell me about the olden days, Casey, about how, Investopedia has the national debt by year. Oh, here we go. This was so easy. Think about this. Okay, so in 2007, the national debt was $9 trillion.
Yeah.
That was 18 years ago, so that was not that long ago. The national debt now is $37 trillion. So we have 4 times. Our national debt is 4 times what it was in 2007. So from 1780, whatever, we'll just start at 1776. That's the Declaration of Independence, right? So just for a little rounding there. 1776 to 2007. So that is 31 years, whatever. 200, let's just make it easy for everybody. 225 years. We added $9 trillion. And then in the past 18 years, we have added 30. No, we've added what? We've 20. I'm doing high school math. Probably 28 trillion in 18 years. And now we're going to add another 20 trillion on top of that. Everything is getting to the point of unaffordable. And these guys in Congress and Trump are taking some sort of victory lap over doing the thing that has made everything.
Keep going.
I said this yesterday, and this is the best analogy. We are watching it. Our government has become a real life episode of the TV show Laugh-In, where we're watching people on stage try to make us laugh, and that it's all fun and games, and you know what's in giggles, except they're destroying your ability to buy stuff. They're destroying your ability to put food on your table and a roof over your head, and it is all one legalized vote-buying scheme after another. And by the way, you now, whether you're a nurse or a doctor or a teacher or a police officer, you're subsidizing bartenders and waitresses.
Yep.
Not in any way trying to indict bartenders or waitresses. God bless them. Thank you for working. I always try to tip 20%. By the way, that's going to change for everybody now. People are going to get real mad once they figure out what this is if this thing passes. And it's actually going to end up costing people. Because that's what the government always does. It costs people money. And people are going to be pissed off that they find out now that people, a certain segment of society, is getting a free ride off of them. And they're going to end up screwing them on the tipping.
Yep.
And you should be pissed off because all work matters. If you're doing work, if you're earning income, and you're doing it legally, it matters. And now what they're saying is because they want those 7 electoral votes in Nevada, hey, that works better than yours. I know you get up if you're a teacher and you educate the masses and you're in charge of ensuring that we have a productive future generation of society. Yeah, you know, the hairstylist, she's more important than you. Or you're a police officer and you're willing to get shot at every day. The local bartender, he's more important than you. What a great message to send, Casey.
So no tax on tips or overtime, tax deductions for American-made vehicle purchases, the creation of the Trump savings accounts, also funding for the Golden Dome defense system. All of these things are in the one big beautiful bill. Here's an idea. Pay your bills for once, balance the budget, stop spending more than you make, prioritize expenditures, like normal people do.
Well, that's what I said
every day.
I said yesterday. I said, why is this so hard? The government, the premise of governing should be very simple. And you notice at any level, they can't do it right. Let's just take a local level. Let's just take the city of Indianapolis. The mayor, a mayor of a city, has 4 primary jobs, and that is it is trash, it is roads, it is snow removal, and it is public safety. I don't know about trash in the city of Indianapolis. You may know about it. Do you have a public trash pickup for you? Because you live here.
For public services.
Now, do they do it? Do you pay for that, though? Or
yes.
Is that, because you're in a gated community. So I don't know how the trash does in the city. But if we were, how are the roads, Case? You drive to work on these roads every day. How are the roads?
Oh, I have to apologize to any passenger in the car.
How's the snow removal? You've been through now in your little gated community. It's probably fine because you're paying big bucks for a private entity.
No, the side roads aren't great.
Yeah, but I'm saying, right. And crime. How's the crime? How's the gunshot or fireworks?
Gunshot or firework.
Yeah. So my point is, all of these things you're supposed to be doing, they're very small in number, right? You got 4 things. We do 3 of them. We're pathetic at 3 of them. I don't know about the trash. And yet we do all these other things, this $1 billion plus budget, and we can't do the 3 nuts and bolts right. Same thing in Congress. Like there's the enumerated power, spell out the things the federal government is supposed to do. It's like 18 things. It's very small. And some of it are stupid things like coinage, right? And we do all of these things, and we spend all of this money, and we do all of this deficit spending and run up all of these debts. And we keep doing it. Governing is pretty simple. It's pretty simple at all levels if you just do the things you're supposed to do. But we don't do those well, and then we pat ourselves on the back and go, look at all the damage we've done.
All right, so Thomas Massey, he was the one holdout, and then Trump went and yelled, and seems like he still held out. He said that printing money is poison to our economy.
And when you print $5 trillion and you put it into the economy, you have diluted the value of the money. So, for instance, if you had a minimum wage at some amount and somebody was making minimum wage and they were still making minimum wage after this money was printed, they actually are making considerably less in terms of real dollars. It's dilution. So the $5 trillion that we printed, I would argue, is the primary source of inflation. We can say, well, eggs went up because feed went up. Fuel went up because there's a war in Ukraine. You can find a lot of excuses for various different industries. But what is the probability that every price went up all at the same time? You can't blame them on specific supply chain problems. The thing
how do you explain the global?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that, Professor Raskin. Because they did the same thing in Europe. They did this everywhere. They printed their own equivalents of the Federal Reserve and Treasuries, created their own money out of thin air. It may be the only thing that saved our dollar is that everybody else did the same thing to their currency. And so the question is, right now we're coming up on the debt limit. Why isn't anybody proposing to print more money? Why aren't the economists proposing to print more money? Because it is poison. When you print money, it is poison to our economy.
And you think about all of these supposed fiscal hawks and these conservatives and these people like Marlin Stutzman who talk a good game. And this is why I'm just done supporting people, because How do you can't hold them accountable. Once they're in, they do whatever. And boy, howdy, Marlin sure learned his lesson last time. So let's talk about Marlin Stutzman, for example, because this is a great guy to show how this works. So Marlin Stutzman, when he was in the Congress the first time in northeastern Indiana, the Fort Wayne area, he was a rock-solid fiscal hawk, conservative, voted against stuff all the time, part of the Freedom Caucus, was freaking awesome as a congressman. Runs for Senate against Todd Young in a primary in 2016. Mitch McConnell comes in and says, we are not dealing with that guy in a U.S. Senate, and we are going to spend millions and millions of dollars to defeat him in a primary, which they did, and Todd Young becomes a U.S. Senator. Marlin Stutzman goes back, runs his farm, decides he's going to run for Congress again, runs on all the things. He was here, Casey. He sat right here, ran on all the things that he was the last time. It's like, all right, man, we got to get more people like that back in there. He goes back in there, and he is on board with all this crap this time. Why? Because he learned his lesson. As they all do, whether it's a state level or the federal level, you will be a good boy. You will be subservient. You will do as we say, because if you don't, we will punish you. And guys like Marlin just don't have the spine for it, apparently, because they all roll over. Other than Massey, and there was one other. I don't even remember who the other person was who voted no. There were 2 Republicans who voted against this. And all the rest of the Republicans, as they always do, just like they printed the $5 trillion in 2020, $20 trillion over the next 10 years. It's always the same crap. There's no point in believing in these people. As Elon Musk is finding out, you just got to burn them all to the ground, because you can't trust any of them. You can't believe in them.
Well, the bill is now going to head to the Senate. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
At Hendricks, your cancer care is in the details.
You have questions, and our dedicated clinicians and expert oncologists will answer them.
You have hills to climb,
and we are going to climb them.
You have dreams, and we're here to help you chase them. You have cancer, and you have all the expertise,
the determination, and the kindness of the entire Hendricks team.
Backed by Mayo Clinic expertise.
It's not just cancer care.
It's Teresa Care. Visit hendricks.org/cancer.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Getting the big, beautiful bill passed. A cloudy sky, rain in some spots possible this morning. It's currently 52 in Indianapolis. The high today, 57. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:30. House Majority Leader and Louisiana Representative Steve Scalise praising the work of his colleagues in getting the big, beautiful bill passed, adding it includes things that will help millions of Americans.
All the things that we knew we needed to do to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in government. Focus on those families who are struggling. All of that is in this one big, beautiful bill. And yes, now the House has come together and passed this bill.
The bill passing with 215 members voting to approve the legislation, 214 voting to oppose it, including 2 Republicans, 1 Republican member voting present. The legislation will now go to the Senate for deliberation. D.C. police apprehending a suspect who they say shot and killed 2 Israeli embassy staff members at an event near the Capitol Jewish Museum Wednesday night. The suspect opened fire on a group of 4 people as they were leaving the event, yelling, "Free, free Palestine," after he was arrested. Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, telling Fox and Friends he expects swift action against the suspect and says he believes the scenes of rising anti-Semitism around the world are likely a factor.
Chanting death to Israel, death to the Jewish people.
The suspect has been identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, a resident of Chicago. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office calling this a horrific anti-Semitic shooting. There was a slight change in the number of people on unemployment benefits last week though more people remained on benefits. New applications declined by 2,000, slightly lower than expected. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is down 122 points. Right now, 41,860. S&P 500 also down just slightly. 6 points to 5,844. As for the NASDAQ, it is up 18 points, 21,080. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Right now, get 50% off your windows. That's half off, plus no interest and no payments for 12 months and a free entry door with your window purchase. Restrictions apply. Call 317-659-7574. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Carb Day starts at Just Add Water Boats on South Franklin. We're going to be there from 6 to 9 a.m. Check out the huge selection of new and used boats and wave runners, snacks and drinks, plus accessory giveaways, including tubes and life jackets. Join us at Just Add Water Boats this Friday at 6 a.m. as we kick off Carb Day.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
Reach your fitness goals in 2025 with a 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
The biggest party on dirt is back at Eldora Speedway July 16th through 19th for the Kings Royal and High Limit Jokers Jackpot. Buy your tickets today at eldoraspeedway.com.
I'm a proud owner of B Window.
I'm a proud B Window owner.
I'm a proud B Window owner.
When you work with a local, employee-owned home improvement company like B Window, quality comes first because your home improvements are a reflection of our business. And for a limited time, we're extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust local, trust employee-owned, trust your home to be.
Trust me.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend, our pal, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you need costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Kevin and Angela in Greenwood had to say about working with Mark Dietl. The big home was too much, and it was time for Dad to move into a maintenance-free community, but we needed cash from the home to fund the change. We reached out to the Mark Dietl team, who helped with the entire process from selling belongings to prepping the home for maximum value. We went on the market and sold for $5,000 over asking price in less than 7 days. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. Prepare for the summer heat with energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. Window Nation windows are built to keep your house cool during the hot summer days, and Window Nation has some of the best energy-efficient windows on the market. Their windows frequently outperform and outlast some of the more expensive guys. Window Nation windows are assembled right here in America. Check out this deal. Right now, when you buy 4 windows, you'll get 4 for free. For 2 years, you won't have to worry about a down payment, interest, or monthly payments. That's right, you don't pay anything until 2027. And if that's not enough, get a free entry door when you buy a house of windows. But you have to mention Hammer and Nigel sent you. You don't get the deal without saying Hammer and Nigel sent you. 866-90-NATION. Schedule a fast, free estimate right now with Window Nation, or visit windownation.com.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the B&V.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
The owner of the Indianapolis Indianapolis Colts has passed away. We've got some thoughts.
Yep, Jim Irsay died in his sleep at the age of 65. He spent 53 years with the Colts.
And, we talk about this all the time when public figures pass away. And this is how we handle the passing of public figures, which is a little different maybe than some other shows do, which is there are thousands of wonderful people who pass away every day, and we don't read the obituaries, right? Mm-hmm. If Edna May, who ran the local food pantry for 20 years in Bargersville, hello Bargersville, if you're listening today, we don't talk about that, right? Because you just couldn't do it. We talk about people when they pass away if they had some sort of far-reaching impact that was known on society. So not in any way to belittle what great people who have lived in their communities for years are doing. It would just be an impossible thing to do. So part of that means that when we talk about public figures, whether they're heads of state, politicians, sports stars, in this case an owner, we talk about all of it. Right. Their public life, because that's why they're known to be talked about on the radio station or on television. They impacted the public sphere, the masses, in some known way that was felt by many, many people.
Yeah, because they are a public figure, they're held to a different standard.
That's right. And so, my rule, Casey, and when I go, I expect it to be for me, which is you comment on me in death as you did in life. If you love me, you shout it from the mountaintops. And if you weren't a fan, you shout that from the mountaintops too. Let's not sugarcoat it, right? Because that's disingenuous. It's hypocritical. And I think with Jim Irsay, there's sort of two sides to this coin, right?
Yeah.
There is one side of a guy who was very generous. I was listening to the sports show coming in, and Kevin and Jeff and the whole crew over there were talking about the generous side of Jim Irsay, the people he helped put through college, the way he went out of his way to make all the staff around him, be generous with them, make them feel seen and acknowledged. All of that is certainly true, and he helped many, many, many people.
Deeply involved in philanthropy.
Right, live better lives. That's absolutely one part of the equation. There's also, there's really three sides of this, because there's that. There is no doubt that he had a profound impact on reshaping not just the Colts from where he inherited the team from his father, but also the entire skyline and makeup of the city of Indianapolis, and helping lead what was one of the two most recognized franchises in the NFL for over a decade. For an entire decade, it was the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts with the two marquee players in the league, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and Jim Irsay oversaw the sort of reconstruction of the Indianapolis Colts from largely cellar dwellers to tippy top team during that decade and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely shaped the identity of the city of Indianapolis, especially under the Colts banner. They won 10 division titles. They reached the Super Bowl twice. They did win the Super Bowl in 2007, and he was instrumental in bringing a Super Bowl here to town. And then when you talk about the philanthropy side of him, yeah, he launched Kicking the Stigma, which was probably one of their most successful campaigns, focusing on the mental health awareness. He also supported the Riley Hospital for Children. He co-hosted that Chuck Strong Tailgate Gala, which raised over $60 million for cancer research. Plus, he donated money to Farm Aid. And you'll hear stories about how just him as an individual and not under his organization donated to people. Just random people on the street even.
And those are all true. And so if we're saying it's a sort of three-headed approach here when we talk about a public figure, absolutely you check the box that the Indianapolis Colts ended up being a much better franchise. And even if you include sort of the squirreliness, for lack of a better term, of the last several years and instability in the wake of Andrew Luck leaving, they're still in a much better place as a franchise, much more respected than they were under his father, much more stable than they were under his father, if you can believe that. And yes, he was clearly a very generous with the money he had, philanthropic individual who gave generously and helped many people. Those are all true. However, as part of the public figure life, and if we're talking about someone as a public figure, we would be remiss, and I think our audience would be upset if we didn't point out that Jim Irsay made much of that money that he gave away, and a lot of that revenue that he was giving away is, in a sense, much like the government, in the sense that he largely strong-armed the city of Indianapolis and their love of sports into gifting him a taxpayer-funded stadium that are basically indebted to forever. We're not even close to being paid off all these years later, and he was given a very sweetheart deal by both the city of Indianapolis and the state of Indiana, in which he made gobs and gobs of money off the backs of poor and middle-class people, that money taken by force. And so while he gave much of it away, much of it was taken from those very people to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, he was a public figure who owned a sports team, and he was given a stadium funded by the taxpayer.
And if you look at the way NFL stadium deals are being structured now, in which there have been several that have come online, and then there are many that are in the works or being debated. The Chicago Bears are a great example. The Kansas City Chiefs are an example. The sweetheart deal that Jim Irsay was able to secure over leveraging, and this is what's important, he leveraged your love of the Colts and the threat of moving them to another city to secure this deal. So when we talk about the philanthropy and we talk about the good stuff, he was willing to threaten to take this team away from you in order to get as much for himself as he possibly could, which not only included a freebie stadium, huge resources over anything that happened in that stadium that had nothing to do with the Colts. When an event happens at Lucas Oil Stadium, the Irsay now family makes a sizable amount of money off of everything that happens in there, even though it has nothing to do with the Colts. And so I think you have to mention that money that he was giving away, much of it was made one-off tax increases for you, so you paid it, and the willingness, or at least the poker face, of saying, I will move the Colts out of the city of Indianapolis if you don't give me not only the stadium, but the sweetheart deal of everything that happens inside of the stadium. I don't think that makes you a bad person or insensitive for talking about a public figure in a manner of the things in which actually happen.
He did seem to have a lot of pride in the city of Indianapolis, and he was very supportive of the other sports teams. I mean, his last tweet was, "Go Pacers." Good luck to Herb and the entire Pacers organization and our city. So when you look at him, you have to take into consideration what he did for the city of Indianapolis. So you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to him.
Yeah, and people are going to debate, and they do, and I know we do this quite a bit on this show, about whether Lucas Oil Stadium has been a net positive. Financially, it has not, in terms of you look at what is owed and what is still owed, and I will debate anybody all day, every day on that. But if you want to say, look, the value, you can't, there are people who will say, well, you can't put a value on hosting a Super Bowl. You can't put a value on Taylor Swift holding 3 concerts here. You can't put a value on this national event or the Final Four coming here. Like, you can't. The people will say the exposure and what it's done for the, and those are all reasonable debates. But we would be remiss if, in remembering the life of a public figure, the whole scope of the public figure, which includes these things which are super positive, but also how they were funded and what went into those things, because it impacts you. It impacts you, the listener, and it does every single day. When you buy a sandwich in every county but Morgan County, in the donuts, whether it's the Marion or Hendricks or Hamilton or Johnson, you're paying for this stadium. You paid for that thing to happen. So you should have an interest in knowing the whole story to form your opinion of the legacy of a person.
It does point out, based on the outpouring of sympathy in the comments from everybody, how much our culture is into sports. I mean, it matters so much to people, and not just because of the scores, but because they're a place where you do get that raw emotion and the unity and identity, and strangers become families, and cities have a purpose and rally behind one common thing, and kids can see what resilience looks like. And that is one of the things that Jim Irsay did bring to the city of Indianapolis. It's not always about who wins, but it's the feeling of everybody being together. And I think that will be one of his enduring legacies. One thing that we should mention is this does open the possible opportunity for there to be another female ownership in the AFC.
Well, there definitely will be. Obviously, he has 3 daughters, and it sounds like in some sort of conjunction, they're going to take over that team together, which I think was always the plan. Now, they'll probably have, it sounds like, different levels of involvement, but I don't think the Colts are going to be put up for sale. I don't think it's going to leave the Irsay family. Obviously, Irsays are tied in with the Foyts as well, which are deeply connected to the city of Indianapolis. So I don't think any of that is going to change. But remember, we have seen the deal that the city did and the state did with the Indianapolis Colts was so egregious, or viewed in hindsight as so egregious, it dramatically changed how cities and states are dealing with funding professional sports going forward, and that has to be a part of the story.
Before we go to break, one last word from Jim Irsay.
I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage. But I do know how to build a football team.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show, Hammer is back. We'll get his review of the AC/DC concert down in Nashville. Rob Kendall goes off the rails and free Indy 500 tickets, 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indy. You know, it's May, and eventually this weather is going to break, and it's going to be sunny, and it's going to be warm, and you're going to want to be outside. And when you're outside, why not do it with a better head of hair? I made the choice to head over to We Grow Hair Indy 4.5 years ago. Every time I look in the mirror, so glad I did. Now, here's how this process works. If you'd like to maybe explore getting your confidence back, call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. And when you do, Darren and the gang are going to take a look at what's going on at the top of your head. They'll give you some suggestions on how you might be able to get your confidence back. Then it's up to you. You make the choice. In the meantime, you can see how some other people got their confidence back by heading over to WeGrowHairIndy.com. WeGrowHairIndy.com, 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
What is 988?
It's a free 24-hour suicide and crisis lifeline.
And what is a crisis?
Maybe something you experience so often.
You don't even think it's a crisis.
Anxiety over money.
A stressful relationship.
Concerns about a loved one's mental health.
If you are experiencing thoughts of suicide or mental health or substance use crisis, call or text 988.
It's a listening ear.
And it's a way forward.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Listen to 93 WIBC this Sunday for the 109th running of the Indy 500 and ride the wave of tradition, pride, and pure adrenaline, where drivers push limits and every second counts.
You've got the 2025 500 Festival Parade coming up on Saturday.
So now, are we going to have a dry weekend?
Is it going to rain?
Well, I mean, they were all over the map on this. Let's see what the latest weather forecast, because I was thinking about this driving into work today. After today is when it starts to matter, because it was raining this morning when I was coming into work. And I thought, man, it stinks. Another day where it's going to be raining. Now, it looks pretty dry, the forecast I'm looking at here. 66 Friday for Carb Day, partly cloudy. 68 on Saturday, partly cloudy. 67 overcast skies, but I don't see any rain on Sunday right now. So that's good. I mean, tomorrow is when it really starts to matter. And while that'll be a little chilly, that'll be a good day out there for people at Carb Day.
Yeah. I think you'd rather have it be a little chilly than blazing hot.
So my wife...
Especially if you're going to have a beverage.
My wife is going to Carb Day tomorrow with her work. And she texts me. And it's so funny, the things that young people don't know. She goes, is Bret Michaels a wrestler?
Did she really?
I said, no, honey, Bret Michaels is the lead singer of Poison. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart are wrestlers. And she goes, oh, that makes sense. I said, what did you think, Carb Day? There was going to be a wrestling match?
Right, they're going to put a ring up there?
She thought, well, you know how The Rock is an actor and also a wrestler. I just thought maybe Bret Michaels was a wrestler, but also a singer.
Does she have any idea what she's getting herself into?
I tried to explain Poison to her. I'm not sure it registered or not. Most of the time, I don't think she even listens to me when I explain it to her. But
fun fact,
that'll be a good show.
I saw Poison in concert.
Like in the day?
In the 80s.
How was it?
It was good. They opened up for Rat.
They were the opening act. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah, they were.
Wow. Look, Bret Michaels is a great show. A friend of the Hammer and Nigel show. He's a great dude. And I think everybody's going to have a blast tomorrow. I just didn't want to share that, though. That these are the things I deal with at my house. Is Bret Michaels a wrestler? That's how she, Rassler. That's how she spelled it, too. Is he a wrestler?
Right. So you've also got the parade on Saturday. It begins at 11:45. Connected through May. That is the theme of this year's parade. Of course,
it's what?
Connected through May.
What does that mean?
It's the theme of the parade.
Oh.
Scott Pollard is going to be the Grand Marshal.
What a great story. Of course, Scott Pollard, a former Indiana Pacer. I was thinking the Colts and the Pacers. The Indiana Pacer still lives in central Indiana, had a heart transplant. For a guy his size, it was very hard to find a heart that would fit his body. He did. He's, by all accounts, doing very well. Heck of a nice guy. So glad that they picked him to do that.
Yeah. Energy, Hoosier Pride, and checkered flag fashion. That's what you're going to see there.
And wrestlers.
And wrestlers. It is the Kendall Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? This is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and I want you to think about everything that's always left behind in and on your floors. Dirt and dust, allergens, pet dander, maybe even some mystery stains. Well, it's time to get Zero Resified. Zero Res can clean virtually any surface in your home, and for a limited time, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and take $75 off air duct cleaning. That's real savings on a deep clean. And remember, Zero Res's patented ZR water cleans with no soaps, no residue, no harsh chemicals. It's clean, safe, and effective. Don't risk it with the other guys, and don't do it yourself with your carpet cleaning. It will end up soaked for days and actually do more damage than good. Keep the mud outside and not under your carpets. Just call Zero Res and mention WIBC to get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141. ZeroResIndy.com.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 6195, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
The most extraordinary thing a woman can do is let herself be human. We try to do it all, sure, but what if we're just not feeling it? Like when the fatigue hits, but you gotta bring snacks to the soccer game? Or when the laundry's piling up, but that hot flash says, too bad. We get it. Franciscan Health has care for extraordinary women who can do it all, but don't have to. Visit franciscanhealth.org/OBGYN today.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, you're the Carfax guy.
The Carfox from Carfax.
Wow.
And you, sir, work at Tire Discounters.
I sure do.
The Carfax top-rated service center.
Oh, right. You know, a lot of that's because of our services. But people think we're just about tires.
Maybe it's your name.
Yeah?
Tire Discounters. And your jingle.
Oh, you like it?
I think it needs something.
Yeah? Like what?
Hit it. Plus brakes, oil changes, shocks, and struts, and more. Now that speaks to me.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Pacers have 4 seconds to score one more time. Here comes Neesmith. He'll get it off from the wing, and of course he hit it as the bench empties.
It's one of the biggest days in sports with Pacers and Racers. Catch the Pacers and Knicks in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals Sunday at 8. Tickets are selling as fast as Indy cars, so get your tickets at Pacers.com/playoffs. Pacers Playoffs, presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry. Pacers Knicks, Game 3, Sunday at 8.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live online or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Reach your fitness goals in 2025 with a 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, the legacy left behind by Colts owner Jim Irsay. What police say a man did to kill his 5-year-old daughter earlier this week. And the Pacers do it again to shock the Knicks in the fourth quarter and then get the win in overtime in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock. Time for Fox News.
Will he face murder and terror charges? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is a question in Washington the morning after 2 Israeli embassy staffers were shot and killed.
Authorities are questioning the suspect, trying to track down all leads, trying to figure out exactly what led up to the shooting last night.
Fox's David Spunt also reports on the victims.
Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, both were soon to be engaged. Both worked for the Israeli embassy in Washington. Both lost their lives after police say a 30-year-old from Chicago shot and killed them.
It happened outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, and the accused gunman then went inside, where an event organizer, Jojo Keelan, thought at first he was a witness to the shooting and asked him,
"Can I get you water?" He said, "Yes, that would be great."
And then she tells Fox,
I looked evil right in the eye, and there he was. And seconds after I handed him the water, he brandishes the keffiyeh, yells "Free Palestine," and then he's apprehended.
And he was chanting that when he was arrested. A small plane crashed early this morning in San Diego, California.
I looked out the window, and there was just flames everywhere. And then we heard the chain reaction of boom, boom, boom.
He was hearing multiple homes and cars catch fire after the plane went down into a neighborhood, leaving wreckage scattered and fuel spilled. We don't know yet about deaths or injuries. In Louisiana, it's day 7 of the manhunt for 5 escaped prisoners still on the run. 5 others who also broke out last week have been captured. At the Capitol,
on this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214.
That House vote 3 hours ago proving what Republicans call one big, beautiful bill to fund President Trump's agenda. Speaker Mike Johnson says,
it revives our economy. It will deliver historic tax relief. It will make the largest investment in our border security in a generation.
They also say they're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse out of Medicaid, adding a work requirement, which is why Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries calls it one big ugly bill.
Millions of people will lose their coverage as a result of this GOP tax scam.
He says millions more will lose food assistance. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Remembering the Colts' longtime owner. Cloudy 52 this hour. Could have rainy conditions in some spots this morning. It feels like 48. 57 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis for Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The death of Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay sending a ripple effect throughout the city and the league. Former Colts head coach Tony Dungy says Irsay had a strong desire to win, but an even stronger will to take care of those around him.
Jim was one of the most compassionate people that I have ever known. He did so many things behind the scenes for not only our players and our staff, but for the city and for individuals that people would never even hear about. But he just did it out of the goodness of his heart.
Dungy speaking with Wish TV. Irsay passed away peacefully Wednesday afternoon at 65 years old. According to IMPD, 41-year-old Zachary Arnold, charged in the murder of his 5-year-old daughter, had strangled her the night before her death and then used a noose to swing and drag her around before she died. The girl was found the morning of May 19th at her father's home. Arnold's girlfriend is also facing charges of assisting a criminal and failure to report a crime. An Evansville father is scheduled to be in court today. Brent Bredhold faces felony neglect charges stemming from the tragic death of his 12-year-old daughter, who was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and died as a result of her condition not being properly managed. The mother faces similar charges. You save more than your life when you ride sober. Matt Baer has more on a special voucher program for partiers coming up this weekend.
A sober ride is obviously safer than a drunk drive. It's also much cheaper. Racegoers and partiers over the Memorial Day holiday can save $10 on their Lyft or Uber rideshare by heading to SoberRideIndiana.com and redeeming the $10 rideshare voucher. Sober Ride is provided by the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. Doug Hunsinger, executive director of the CJI, says there are many more holidays coming with sober savings.
So look for more activations around the 4th of July, the WNBA All-Star Game, and also Labor Day.
Matt Baer, WIBC Traffic.
How about those Pacers yet again? They mount a crazy comeback, defeating the New York Knicks in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals last night, 138-135, the final in overtime. Game 2 is tomorrow at Madison Square Garden. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. Summer's here, so are the rising temperatures. Before you know it, you're going to be wondering what else you can do to keep cool during these hot days of summer. Beat the heat and keep the AC in your home with Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows for free during their big, awesome semi-annual sale, and a free entry door when you purchase a house of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. Get this deal, lock it in right now, but you have to say Hammer and Nigel sent you. You don't get the deal unless you say Hammer and Nigel sent you. The big semi-annual sale from Window Nation. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows for free, a free entry door when you purchase a house of windows. You don't pay anything until 2027. Schedule that free estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
I mean, we could. We could talk about sports all morning because there's so many stories happening in Indianapolis.
Yeah, the local show's done, by the way. I think we're fine for a couple hours. We have no competition to talk about local sports in the city of Indianapolis.
So we could keep going.
Well, maybe we should.
Should we?
We're less likely to get in trouble if we stay on the happy stuff.
It's true.
Hey, so yeah, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. Now, again, we're laughing about this because we don't normally talk sports on this show unless it sort of transcends or affects society as a collective. And when you think about what's going on right now, especially with that just phenomenal win last night by the Indiana Pacers, which, guilty as charged, did not see the end of the game, down 14. I'm going to bed ski. See you later. And then they won.
Yep.
But as we started the show with, you don't have to participate in order to celebrate. And
I don't know. I think if you didn't stick it out, you don't get to watch game 2.
Look, I don't have the
Those are
cable,
the rules.
Casey. It's a huge. You know how in the old-timey days, even going to town was a big deal, which is why township governments exist to begin with. These waste of space township governments who do nothing for the most part. They exist because back in the day, 120, 125 years ago, having to get into town, even if you lived, 5-6 miles away, that was, big deal, right? You had to go through rugged terrain and forests and, creeks and all sort of, there may or may not have even been a road. That was a big deal. Now, it's not as big a deal, but back then it was. That's sort of me when I have to get to my dad's house to watch cable because I don't have cable.
Right next door.
I got to go over the rugged terrain. There's usually a snapping alligator you got to avoid, poisonous snakes. So I had to plan for the trip home, and the sooner I leave, the sooner I can get home. And then once they tied the game up, I had to decide I was going to go back, and I was just not going to risk life or limb to go back and see the end of that game.
Well, you missed an amazing game.
It was.
Sorry for your luck.
It was, I'll tell you what, it's going to, depending on how the series works out, it'll certainly probably be elevated above the Reggie Miller game, which I didn't think anybody would ever be able to eclipse Reggie Miller scoring all those points in under 10 seconds. I remember vividly. I missed that one too. Isn't it crazy in your life, Casey, the things you remember? This is what I remember about the Reggie Miller game, okay? I remember being the thing, there are like marquee events, you're like, I have no memory of that. And then there are things you're like, I remember every second of that. I remember my parents were car shopping, and we were in the car going to look at cars. Pacers were down, whatever it was. We go to where we're going to look at cars, get out, go around, look at the cars, come back in. Mark Boyle on the radio. Mark Boyle is still on the radio, by the way. All these years later, it is still the same guy calling Indiana Pacers basketball. Well, folks, the Pacers pulled out a miracle win. What? They what? How did that happen?
He had that call last night.
I missed the Reggie Miller game, and I missed this one. Now, this one was much more my own fault because when you're a kid, you just go where your parents say. But I have missed all the big Pacer events, either out of force or laziness. But anyway, what a win last night. Boy, that was unbelievable. There were multiple things that occurred that had never occurred before in NBA games. I mean, you think about being down 9. They were down 9 points with less than a minute to go. In the modern NBA, that's just, everybody's just packing it up, right? You're getting out of the garden as fast as you can, trying to deal with New York traffic. And those people, man, they missed total history, and what a win last night for the Pacers.
All right, well, since you missed it last night, here is Mark Boyle on Therese Halliburton's game-tying field goal.
Anunoby has one more foul shot.
Try to compose yourself when the Pacers hit this game winner.
All right. He made the second. It's a 2-point game. Bring it the length, fellas, and hit a 3. 2-point game, 6 seconds to go. Halliburton driving. He's in the lane. He nearly lost it. He backs up and unloads a 3. Oh! That did not happen! It hit the back of the rim. It popped high into the air, and it dropped gently through the net. The scoreboard shows 125-125. It's called a 2-point shot.
Yeah, it was not only that he made
Gently through the net.
It's not only that he made the shot, it's the manner in which the ball went through the basket.
Yeah.
And then Halliburton, and you know he was gearing up for it, to have the wherewithal in the overtime to do the choke in honor of Reggie, with Reggie calling the game. It doesn't even matter. The Pacers have already won the series. Even if they actually lose the series, them winning that game last night was
everything.
Unbelievable. And this is the third miracle game they've won in these playoffs, and 7 wins to go, Casey.
Yeah.
7 wins to go, 125-1.
In terms of basketball, think about this. With Halliburton and Caitlin Clark, Indianapolis has 2 of the best players.
They do.
The top players.
You know, it's interesting because Tyrese Halliburton really sort of became this quiet superstar. You think about all the publicity of a Caitlin Clark and you know what she has had dating back to college. Tyrese Halliburton came from Iowa State. He wasn't this super heralded guy. It wasn't like the team won a national championship. He was a good player. Goes to the Kings. And again, the Kings aren't great, just like the Pacers weren't great. And the Pacers and Kings decide they're going to make this deal to send Sabonis, who was an established star, to the Kings, and immediately they get satisfaction out of that. The Kings become a pretty good team, and you're looking at this as the Pacers, especially after year one when they were so bad, and you're like, man, can this guy play? We gave up this one guy we had who was pretty good, and you got to give a lot of credit to the Indiana Pacers. One, they brought Carlisle back to coach this team, and they constructed a roster around his coaching style, and they put just A+ job, given that the fact the Pacers will not go into the luxury tax of roster construction. They've got two legit dudes in Siakam and Halliburton. They've got Turner, who's a 3, who is outstanding. You got Nembhard and Nesmith. I mean, these guys, look, it's a legit team. You can make a compelling case, especially starting 10 and 15. The Pacers are the best team in the NBA, hands down, right now, especially since that 10 and 15 start.
Absolutely. Okay, another big sports story was citing organizational failures. Team Penske announced they were letting go the president, Team Penske.
Yeah, so it was the equivalent of, I heard this today on the morning show, multiple guys were let go. It's basically the equivalent of letting Kevin Bowen said this, and he's spot on. It's equivalent of letting go your offensive and defensive coordinator 3 or 4 days before the Super Bowl, right? They blow these guys out who have been a part of Penske forever. Obviously, this is relating to this, I don't know if you want to call it cheating or whatever you want to call it, scandal. Modifications, thank you, where the two leading guys for Penske, or two of the leading guys for Penske. What a horrible day for him. The one guy hits the wall, McLaughlin, and then the other two go to the back of the line in Newgarden and Power. And it's a horrible stain on Penske, especially given the cheating, is that the right word, last year, the push to pass scandal last year. And so you've got this guy in a super weird position for him where he owns the league, he owns the track, and he's one of the dominant guys in the sport. And now multiple times they've been caught in, shall we say, violation of the rules,
right,
shall we say. So he's going to have to implement either some sort of extreme institutional control or just give up the team or the ownership of the sport, which he's not going to do, because this is just, it's such a...
Right. It's very much like you can either be a politician or a pundit, but you can't be both.
Right. You're right. Spot on. It's too many hats. Whether it's intentional or not, it's just a total black eye. It
was the right move.
Oh, totally. Totally was.
Because accountability matters.
Well, and by all accounts, Penske is a really good guy. He's got he's really got a love for the sport and has a lot of integrity. But wow, this is twice now. And especially when you're the tippy top guy and you're also the owner of the whole kit and caboodle, it just, something's got to change. And just simply firing these guys, I don't think is going to be enough. Either there's going to have to be some serious revamping of institutional control, or he's going to have to relinquish ownership of something.
Well, of the personnel changes, he said nothing is more important than the integrity of our sport and our race teams. We've had organizational failures during the last 2 years, and we had to make necessary changes. I apologize to our fans, our partners, and our organizations for letting them down. So it seems like he's taking ownership of it, which is what you want to see. And he's making changes to rectify the situation.
Here's the question, though. So there's going to be 350,000 people that are going to go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Carb Day is tomorrow, and you'll probably have, 50,000 people there for that. Is anybody, and there'll be millions of people listening on the radio, WIBC coverage starts 6 a.m. Sunday, watching on television around the country. Is there going to be any person who's like, yeah, I'm not participating this year because the Penske guys were playing fast and loose with the rules?
No, they're not going to change their plans because of it, but it's about the optics.
It is. I get it.
And it's about the future.
The optics that matter the most are money. And while it will affect probably those drivers' ability to earn money, let's face it. This is the reality of it. Yes, does Roger Penske love auto racing? Of course. Is his whole life auto racing? Of course. But he didn't buy the track as a charity case. He bought it to make money.
Well, yeah, but think about all the effort and time and money that he put into it, bringing it back to the place it is today.
Sure.
Sold out crowd. And then this modification happens. He's not going to you're not going to let somebody ruin everything that you've worked hard to bring back.
The guys I feel the worst for are Power and Newgarden, because it doesn't sound like they were in on anything. And they may have not even known it was going on, and yet they're the guys who,
right?
who
They
get
feel like they're getting punished.
The real punishment, because they got to start all the way in the back. All right, what are we doing next? What's going on? Hey, can we talk about? I know you had it at 11 o'clock, but I really want to mention the Super 70 Sports put out a Twitter poll, and the results to me were fascinating.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Colts owner Jim Irsay has died.
It is impossible to overstate the impact that Jim Irsay has had on the city of Indianapolis.
Now we're world champions.
Monument Circle lit up in Colts blue and white.
Love the city, love the state, loved his football team.
Leaves a city that is far larger, more vibrant, and nationally known due to his thumbprint on it.
Remembering Jim Irsay, 93 WIBC.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Can we talk about this poll on Super 70 Sports that I thought was just riveting?
So the question was, all things considered, which version of American society is preferable to you? 1985 or 2025?
Yeah, so if you had to pick right now, so you know everything that's going on. You know all the medical advances. You have all the you're the beneficiary of of hindsight. You know all of the things. Which one are you going to choose? And overwhelmingly, Casey, people chose 1985.
Yeah, it was 94% to 6%.
And there were is that still what it is? Like, can you check it? Is that still what it is? And there were tens of thousands of people who voted in this, as all the Super 70 Sports. If you don't know, it's an online Twitter account. The guy who runs it, I think, works for Outkick now, does a show on Outkick. And he just basically posts nostalgia-based stuff, pictures. He has funny captions with them. And I thought this was interesting because you would assume the majority of people who are taking that poll are adults, older people. I would say, probably 40 and up. And in perspective of they understand like modern medicine and technology and the impact it's had on society, and yet they're still choosing to go back to 1985.
1985. I would definitely go back to 1985. And it has nothing to do with the technology or communication or medical advances. It would just be a personal choice that I was 15 and wasn't responsible or didn't need to be as responsible, an adult.
Okay, so
life was easier in 1985 for me.
That's interesting because
I wasn't even driving yet.
Well, because I was going to say, obviously, I was very, very little in 1985. And so that's all sort of historical stuff for me that you read about, you learn about. I remember some stuff from the later 80s, but later part of the 1980s. But you do have a memory of it. Like, you obviously can remember things and places and stuff you did. And so, but yet you're freely admitting it's just because I want to be a kid again.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think about that. I
didn't process it that way.
Riding the bicycle around the neighborhood. You didn't come home until the lights came on. Mom or dad dropping me off for basketball practice, and being a sophomore in high school, having your first crush. All of those things. The world was your oyster in that moment. There were so many possibilities.
Well, and I do think about this because, each night, weather permitting, we take Livy out to a local playground somewhere and let her play. And there's about 3 or 4 different ones we go to within walking distance because we're surrounded by the school compound where we live. And they have very nice, by the way, the Brownsburg school system has very nice playground equipment. So we'll give them credit for that. We're finally getting our tax dollars to use here. But what I often find in amazement is when I was a kid, and, your memory, maybe you just remember things in a more nostalgic fashion, but I don't think that's right with this. Kids were out all the time. You see kids everywhere, even kids you weren't playing with, you just saw people. And on these walks that we go on to get to these playgrounds, the only people I really encounter are you'll get some senior citizen people out on walks.
Going for a walk, sure.
But that's it. You don't see kids in their yards. There's some neighbor kids that are 2 or 3 houses down from us. They play in the backyard with their parents, and that's about it.
And think about that. My parents, they didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
I was out in the neighborhood somewhere, and I didn't have a cell phone with me. I wasn't tracked with some device, and they weren't overly worried. That, if I showed up at dinner time.
And so I think about, even at the playgrounds, when we go to these playgrounds, you'll see a handful at one of the playgrounds, a handful of families that are out there. There's another playground that we've discovered that there's just nobody out there, and we love that one, and it's just great. She can run around, do whatever she wants to do. But it's like, what have we created in our society where there is no sense really of direct connection with kids outside of, it seems like their sports teams or whatever club they're in. Like when I go for these walks around, even to get to the playgrounds and places where we used to play in courtyards and stuff, and I'll look at it now and it's like something out of a movie where you flash back and you see the scene playing out in front of you, and it's like there's just nothing there anymore. It's like everybody's just in their house all the time.
In my neighborhood, we had the meeting place. It was the big green electrical box. It was kind of at the edge of our backyard.
Is that where Kirk Herbstreit used to meet
you
guys?
No, but that's where Jenny Ruby would, But
for those of you who are new to the program, I know you long-timers know this, but Casey grew up with famed Ohio State quarterback Kirk Herbstreit.
Mm-hmm.
She had a gigantic crush on Kirk Herbstreit, and like some sort of John Hughes movie, Kirk Herbstreit was stolen from her by the no good, dirty, rotten Jenny Ruby, who was Casey's childhood friend.
That's I did not have a crush on him, but I like the way you spin the story. But I mean, there was the big green electrical box in the backyard, and all the kids in the neighborhood knew that was the meeting spot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got to go in and do a chore. Okay, when you're done, this is where you're going to meet.
Yeah.
Go in for dinner. When you're done, come back out here. And I just wonder in the neighborhoods now if all of the kids know this is where we're all going to congregate to figure out.
I don't think it exists.
What we're going to do, whether it's kickball in the cul-de-sac or, the hide and seek or kick the can. I mean, the games that you played out in the backyard.
I don't think it exists
With
anymore, Casey.
the entire neighborhood.
Like, I don't see it. Maybe it does.
Did you ride do they ride the Huffy bikes up and down the streets and turn them upside down and act like it's an ice cream machine or, whatever?
One of the things that I think has happened is that in communities, central Indiana communities, and I'm talking about like in the area where I grew up, and I'm sure it was even true, and it would have been true in the area when you grew up, even though you didn't grow up in central Indiana. The communities were isolated enough that your life was that community. And so what I meant by that is like Brownsburg, when I grew up, was its own little town. Whitestown didn't exist. Zionsville was a postage stamp. Avon was a couple of traffic lights, right? Like Rockville Road was a thing, but there was not what it is now. So everything you did was in that community. Your life was that place. You knew who went to what elementary school. You knew who all the people were. You knew who people were in town. Seeing the basketball coach out and about in the community was a big deal because your world was cut off to that thing. And as we've seen the sprawl, the communities have gotten so big that there is no sense of connection anymore inside of that community and who the people are and who the players are and who the things are. There are very few very few local businesses, certainly that have any meaning or grand impact on the community. Like I used to remember downtown Brownsburg, it was Harley's Restaurant, it was the Snake Bite Saloon where all the criminals hung out, but they were our criminals, Casey. The Rocking Horse, it was the Hollett and Harmon drugstore. Like you knew all of these places. That doesn't exist in communities anymore. And so I think kids are just, because they don't have to be, they're not connected the way they once were.
I think the biggest change from 1985 to 2025 is going to be your technology and your communication. If you consider in 1985, you had no smartphones, you didn't have the internet. Personal computers, they were rare. They were mostly used for word processing or games. You had your VHS tapes and your cassette players. That was the media. If you were on the phone as a teenage girl, you had your little pink princess phone, or you were in the hallway and trying to get that cord as far down the hall as you could for some privacy. But everybody knew you were on your phone. Everybody in the house knew.
Because they couldn't call.
Well,
they couldn't make a phone. Casey, get off the phone!
Exactly. But now everybody's got the smartphone. You've got your cloud computing, your AI, your 5G, streaming services, smart homes. Before, when you were watching TV, everybody was in the family room. And when Dallas came on, that's when, sorry, it's bedtime. That's an adult show. Now, you have no idea what your kids are, accessing because it's right there in their hand.
You know what we do have now, though, that we didn't have? Yeah, Jarrett Lewis and the news.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Trump getting the House to play ball. It's cloudy, 53 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Feels like 49. 57 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:31 now. President Trump's big, beautiful bill is passing out of the House and now goes to the Senate. Lawmakers approved the massive spending plan this morning.
On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214, with one answering present. The bill is passed.
All Democrats voted against it, along with 2 Republicans, including Kentucky's Thomas Massey. The bill, if it becomes law, would make big cuts to Medicaid and make tax cuts on the nation's highest earners permanent, as well as eliminate Biden-era green energy tax credits. President Trump seeming pleased that the bill finally passed. In a post to X this morning, he called it arguably the most significant piece of legislation that will ever be signed in the history of our country. A man who reportedly shouted pro-Palestinian slogans has been arrested after police say he killed 2 Israeli embassy staffers who were leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum in D.C. Wednesday.
There are really 2 tracks right now. There's this investigation going on. Authorities are questioning the suspect, trying to track down all leads, trying to figure out exactly what led up to the shooting last night. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, both were soon to be engaged. Both worked for the Israeli embassy in Washington. Both lost their lives after police say a 30-year-old from Chicago shot and killed them. Yaron Lashinsky's father spoke to our colleague Trey Yingst in Israel, says the 2 were soon to be engaged. Yaron wanted to bring her to Israel to meet the family before he proposed.
Fox says David Spunt in D.C. The suspect expected to be charged and the death penalty back on the table in federal court under the current Trump administration. And the manhunt continues for 5 inmates who remain on the run after escaping a jail in New Orleans. Police have arrested 2 women in connection with the breakout. A maintenance worker at the jail was also arrested on suspicion of assisting the inmates' escape. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable. But a simple in-office solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kiandula. After having one of Advent's simple in-office procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and 1-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or bonus room without adding ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
To find out more, just go to absolutecomfort.org. Plumbing problems stink. The LD Smith Crew can handle anything. Call today for $50 off any plumbing repair, big or small.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Can I read you this tweet that is everything about why our country is going right down the crapper?
Yeah.
It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So the Republicans caved, as we said they would. The Freedom Caucus people, it was always the squawking and the
tough talk,
cackling, and then they just fold at the end. I mean, these people are clowns. They're just laughable clowns. I don't listen to them anymore. We told you it was going to happen. Sparts, all the rest of them. They always do it every single time. It's tiresome at this point. It's just tiresome. And they did. Who's the guy who voted present that allowed the bill to pass?
The guy from Maryland? Andy Harris.
Andy Harris. So
chairman of the Freedom Caucus.
Yes. So the bill passed 215 to 214. So they had one vote to lose, right? They had one vote to spare. He could have voted no, and he voted present.
Yeah.
What a chicken.
So you had Thomas Massey, who voted no, and Warren Davidson from Ohio, who voted no. But then Representative Andy Harris voted present, neither yes nor no.
And the Congress is totally afraid of Trump, which is horrifying. It's horrifying how afraid the Congress is of Trump. And I'm going to read you this tweet from a guy named Keith Self, who is a U.S. rep, a Republican from Texas.
Okay.
And we now have no check and balance. The job of the Congress, no matter who the president is to be a check and balance on that branch of government and step in and say, no, we control the money. You don't get everything you want, and we are in charge here. We are the adults in the room if you're not willing to be. And that is gone. We are done with this. I'm going to read you this tweet. Now, keep in mind, this guy voted for the bill.
Okay.
And listen to what he had to say about the bill that he voted for. This morning, I took what may be the toughest vote of my career by voting yes on the House reconciliation bill. Full stop right there. If it's that tough of a vote, vote no.
He's already trying to explain his vote.
I came to Congress to fight Washington's out-of-control spending.
Oh.
You just voted for something that added $20 trillion to the nation's debt.
I'm expecting, but...
It has been my top priority since my first day in office. We must save America's future generations from fiscal ruin.
But...
Yes, you have identified the problem, and you have identified your job in fixing the problem. We're off to a great start.
Correct.
Mr. Self. Congress took President Trump's incredible policies and paired them with more Washington spending in another must-pass bill. It's only must-pass if you vote for it. It does nothing to stop Washington's out-of-control spending. This bill could take us from $36 trillion in debt to $56 trillion or more in 10 years. It drives us towards socialized medicine by omitting significant reforms to Medicaid. It fails to repeal Biden's Green New Scam. You've just laid out in ironclad fashion what you were elected to do, how this bill doesn't do the things you were elected to do, how you would be absolutely on solid footing by saying, absolutely not. I'm not doing this. I ran on this. I was elected to do this. This doesn't do this. Thank you. Goodbye. And you, Mr. Self, could have stopped this thing from passing. Let me be clear. I mean, you could have just been done right there, right?
Yeah.
Stop. I voted no.
Is this where the but?
Goodbye. Let me be clear. President Trump is leading the most aggressive pro-American administration perhaps in our nation's history. The issues some conservatives have in this case fall squarely at the feet of Congress. Yes, you! You are the Congress! I am proud of the positive changes the House Freedom Caucus fought to get in this bill. You mean like some minor changes to when you're going to start making people
go to work?
Yeah, apply for jobs to get free stuff. Celebrate President Trump's major America First wins in this bill. What are they? The legalized vote buying?
No tax on tips?
Yes, in which you're now telling servers in Nevada that they're more important than nurses and doctors?
Maybe he's talking about the tax deductions on American-made vehicles.
But know that our Republican-led Congress can and must do better. This was your chance to do better. When will the next chance to do better be? This is going to be the law for 10 years. This was the chance to do better. Does he not know how the system works? Maybe they should have to pass some sort of training to get to vote in Congress. Do you actually know how the Congress works? This was the chance to do better.
He skipped that day of onboarding.
This happens every time. Next time. This will be the last time, Casey.
Next time.
This is the last time. We're not going to roll over ever again.
This is what we heard here in Indiana when it comes to property taxes. Fight, fight, fight. Now, next time we're in session, we're going to reform.
Yes.
Not this time. Next time.
I read that and it's like, you just had a chance. They couldn't pass it without you. You could have gotten whatever you wanted to get. And you got nothing or next to nothing. You got the status quo.
You got more spending.
More spending, more legalized vote buying. Stop it. Just stop insulting our intelligence. Just stop acting like you are helpless in this equation.
So Donald Trump posted something. He said, the one big, beautiful bill has passed the House of Representatives. This is arguably the most significant piece of legislation that will ever be signed in the history of the country.
Oh, really? Well, someone should probably educate him to some of the things that have been signed in the history of this country.
He's very excited. He says the bill includes massive tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax deductions when you purchase an American-made vehicle, along with strong border security measures, pay raises for our ICE and Border Patrol agents, funding for the Golden Dome, Trump savings accounts for new babies, and much more. And then he goes on to say what a great job that the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, did. Then he goes on to rip on Democrats. And then he said they don't realize that these things and so many more like them will never happen again.
This is going to be a dumpster fire of epic proportions. It will drive us further into debt. We already saw yesterday about how the Treasury, the price of the 20-year yields, what's going on with that. Nobody has any faith left in the world in our dollar and our ability to pay. And these people are like, sure, here's some gas on that. Let's just throw some gasoline on that. All of these giveaway, the tax cuts only matter if you stop the spending. See, Carl came in here, and I love Carl, and I don't know if Carl's hearing me right now. Are you hearing me, Carl? I love you, Carl. You're criminally insane on this, though. Carl's like, it's not that bad. Like we got to starve the government of revenue. Yes, in a theoretical world,
but they'll just keep printing the money.
They print the money. It just makes everything more expensive. You can't starve them of revenue because they just print the money. It doesn't matter. All I'm doing is screwing myself. The tax cuts are great if they're paired with actual spending cuts. If you said we're cutting $20 trillion over the next 10 years and it's all paid for, then okay. I'm still not aboard with the tax tips because I don't think different work should be treated differently. I don't think your work is better than mine. I don't think my work is better than yours. I think we all contribute to the economy. But by and large, I would be okay with a lot of this stuff if it were paid for. But we have done nothing to address the institutional cancer that is plaguing our government, which are these guaranteed payments to people for things that we cannot keep up with.
Did you see how they celebrated? Obviously, they applauded and lots of handshakes, and then they played Queen's We Are the Champions.
No, they did not.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they didn't.
They did.
That did not happen. You are saying that solely to make me angry.
Oh, you're right, Rob. You're right. I don't want to make you angry.
On the floor of the House, they played We Are the Champions because they did their job?
It didn't happen. You're right.
I mean, are you serious? They did their job, and then they played We Are the Well, they did a horrible job at their job, but they finally completed the thing that they were supposed to complete, and it took them 5 months to do on the thing they
Celebrations included applause, handshakes, and the playing of Queens. We Are the Champions.
I'm surprised. You know how when the guys win the world championship, they don't get the goggles out with the champagne and start pouring it out? I hate these people so much.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, one big, beautiful bill has passed the House. Should it pass the Senate? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Hey guys, everything's getting more expensive these days. Thank you, federal government. And that's why Universal Windows Direct is here to help with their home improvement season sale. Yes, if you've been considering upgrading your windows, now is the best time ever thanks to this incredible deal with Universal Windows Direct. So here's how this dealio works. 50% off your windows. Yes, that's right. You can math. That's half off. Then on top of that, no interest and no payments for 12 months. So let's review. Half off your windows, 50% off, and no interest or no payments for 12 months. You get to live in your home with those windows for 1 year, interest and payment free. And last but certainly not least, a free entry door with your window purchase. So in order to get all the details, some restrictions may apply, get all the details and schedule your totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
I'm Dennis Reinbold for Dryer & Reinbold BMW, Infiniti, and Mini at I-465 in Keystone, and Dryer & Reinbold BMW, Infiniti, Subaru, and Volkswagen at US 31 South in Greenwood. For 56 years, we've been working hard to earn your continued business and grow within our communities we support. That's why we offer competitive lease or purchase options and same-day service appointments for your convenience. See all our great selection of new quality pre-owned vehicles at dryreinbold.com.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed a musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Need air conditioning service and want to work with a local company you can trust like B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical? Find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Recovery is a journey, and no one walks it alone. The Supporting Sobriety podcast helps friends and families understand addiction, offer support, and care for themselves along the way. Hosted by Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you see Duke is trying to screw everybody over?
So they proposed retiring 2 coal units. Is that what we're talking about? The
Cuyahoga.
Cuyahoga?
Cayuga. Yeah.
It's not Cuyahoga County. Cayuga. It's a generating station, and they want to replace it with natural gas units.
Okay, so this is interesting. Duke Energy, obviously one of the largest energy providers in our state, one of the big monopolies, because that's how energy works in our state. When you buy a house, they don't give you an option of, here's your 3 potential service providers. Pick the one that best fits your needs and price point.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you, here's who's giving you electricity. Here's who your gas provider is. And you'll pay whatever they tell you to pay. Energy providers, the utilities, are policed by the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and they have to get rate increases for whatever they want to do approved through those people. So as long as they can sneak it past that crack, you're screwed. And there is, as part of our government, there is a group of people, a committee that represents the Office of the Utility Consumer Counselor.
Yeah.
And their job is to lobby on behalf of you, the ratepayer, to make sure that all expenditures are necessary and warranted. And Duke is trying to get rates raised. It will the OUCC, the Office of the Utility Consumer Counselor, says that it would have about a $19.37 monthly impact on your bill over time. Duke's trying to dispute that as they're trying to retire 2 coal-powered units and replace them with natural gas units. And now this is a big fight over this West Central Indiana station about what to do with it.
Yeah, so the new gas units, they would add about 470 plus megawatts of electricity. The estimated project cost, $3.3 billion.
But let's talk about
$3.3 billion.
That's right. It would be 5.3 after financing.
Oh.
So you got to, let's not, that's always how they do it, right? It's 3.3 billion, but it'll actually cost you. When they say us, they mean you, because they pass it on to you. Hey, let's talk about the utilities for a second, right? Shall we? So think about that. Can you think of any other place where you have no choice? I mean, they admit they're monopolies. That's what they call them, right? It's a monopoly. You don't have any choice. The utilities are so powerful, and they've got these politicians so in their pocket that there is no choice. Once a utility gets a claim to an area, you are stuck.
That's it.
And they cling on to that like grim death. Think about your cable provider, right? Like you move in somewhere and you go Comcast, you go AT&T, you go all these different ones. Utility, hey, here's Duke. Hey, here's AES. Well, their service kind of sucks. Doesn't matter. How you get hold accountable? Well, you really can't. So we'll see what happens because of this.
Some people could experience some rising electric bills.
There's a lot of people that want this torpedoed, but again, it's all in the hands of the IURC about what happens. So wish us by the way, Duke is scheduled to file a rebuttal on May the 29th.
So the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. It's never easy.
They get to make the final decision.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you'll deal with it and like it.
Take it. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. You know, the weather is starting to break. It's May. The 500's right around the corner. Chances are you'll be looking to get outside a lot more. And when you go outside this spring and summer, wouldn't you like to do it with a better, fuller head of hair? That's where We Grow Hair Indy comes into play. Here's all you got to do. And this is what I did 4.5 years ago every time I look in the mirror. So glad I did. Call them today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. You're going to schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Then when you do that, you're going to go in, Darren and the gang, they're going to take a look at what's going on the top of your head and make some choices, make some suggestions to you, give you a couple different choices on how to get your hair back, your confidence back. Then you make the call. In the meantime, see some other folks who made the choice to get their confidence back by going to We Grow Hair Indy. Check them out on the web, WeGrowHairIndy.com, WeGrowHairIndy.com, 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
It's JFE for Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden. The Memorial Day sale is here. 20% off container trees and shrubs and 30% off pottery now through June the 1st. Finish off your yard and garden for the summer with annuals, perennials, and hanging baskets still in stock. And save 20% off container trees and shrubs and 30% off pottery at the Memorial Day sale at Sundown Gardens at 186 and Spring Mill Road in Westfield and Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
It's the Bash Sale, the biggest automotive sale in history. Your local Bill Estes dealerships are coming in hot with deals on trucks you don't want to miss. We have a huge selection of trucks at one easy online stop. Brand new Chevy, Ford, GMC, Jeep, Ram, and Toyota trucks with a massive pre-owned selection too. Plus, our fair and direct upfront pricing means what you see is what you pay. Shift into savings during the Bash Sale, only at Bill Estes dealerships, and drive away in your dream truck today. Online at BillEstesTrucks.com.
Many nonprofits struggle with staffing issues, but through the Senior Community Service Employment Program, or CSEP, 5013Cs with limited budgets can get cost-free supplemental employees while helping train people 55 and over for a new career. Trainees are motivated, reliable employees, and their wages are completely covered by the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. To learn more, go to backtowork.dwd.in.gov. That's backtowork.dwd.in.gov.
I gave it a shot, and I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what fans are saying about Colts owner Jim Irsay following his passing. A pair of couples are facing charges relating to the deaths of their kids. What one Hoosier in D.C. believes about the one big beautiful bill passing, and a recap of the Pacers' historic comeback win last night in New York, plus a preview of the Fevers matchup tonight in Atlanta. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
He hasn't been charged yet.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A man accused of killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers last night at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Attorney General Pam Bondi just told Fox.
Our job now is to be sure justice is served, and it will be served.
A couple who was about to be engaged were the victims. That's the accused gunman as he was being arrested in a video recorded by Katie Kalischer, who tells Fox before she knew he was the suspect, he asked her if she thought the shooting was related to the museum being Jewish.
Maybe. I don't know, but I don't think so. I hope not. That's when he reaches into his bag and pulls out a keffiyeh and says to me, I did it. I did this for Gaza.
And then he chanted the Free Palestine and then was arrested. In San Diego, California, a small plane crashed early this morning, setting more than a dozen homes and cars on fire.
With the jet fuel going down the street and everything on fire all at once, it was pretty horrific to see.
San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall says about 100 residents were forced from their homes. As for those on board the plane, scattered in charred pieces, there are multiple deaths reported. There's been a tie vote at the Supreme Court in a case Justice Amy Coney Barrett recused herself from out of Oklahoma, an issue whether taxpayer money can fund the Catholic school as the nation's first religious charter school. Well, it cannot, because Fox's Shannon Beam reports of that tie vote.
And that means the lower court decision stands. What the Oklahoma State Supreme Court had decided was that these charter schools, religious in nature, cannot take part in the public funding or the system of public charter schools.
4 hours ago at the House,
this one big, beautiful bill is the most consequential legislation that any party has ever passed.
Speaker Mike Johnson, the bill funds President Trump's agenda, extends the 2017 tax cuts. All Democrats voted no. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says,
this is one big, ugly bill.
He says millions of Americans will lose health coverage and food assistance. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How Jim Irsay will be remembered. Cloudy, 53 in downtown Indy. Some showers in the vicinity. The high today just 57. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Colts fans are reacting to the passing of team owner Jim Irsay, remembering him as a father figure who cared for the city of Indianapolis and its people.
He was just like coming home to see Dad. When you see Mr. Irsay, he has had open arms to everyone.
Irsay took over the team in 1997. He was sleeping peacefully when he died Wednesday afternoon at the age of 65. In Indianapolis, 41-year-old Zachary Arnold is facing murder charges after IMPD says he strangled and tied a noose around the neck of his 5-year-old daughter, leading to her death. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears announced the filing of murder charges this morning, the death happening earlier this week. A father in Evansville is set to appear in court today. Brent Bredhold faces felony neglect charges stemming from the death of his 12-year-old daughter, who was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and died as a result of her condition not being properly managed. The mother faces similar charges. A Hoosier political leader says President Trump's budget is the strongest in a generation for jobs, families, and the economy. Ryan Hedrick reports.
On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214. The bill is passed.
That's Speaker Mike Johnson dropping the gavel on a House vote Thursday morning. Congressman Rudy Yakum says the bill delivers for Hoosiers and for Trump's priorities.
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, additional deductions for seniors.
And he says the bill also supports the middle class goals that Trump campaigned on.
And that, frankly, I ran on, the commitments I made to Hoosiers.
And the bill now heads to the Senate, where leaders say there'll be some changes. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Still hard to believe that Pacers' comeback victory over the Knicks last night. It was Tyrese Halliburton's two-pointer as time expired to send the game into overtime.
And unloads a three. Oh, that did not happen. It hit the back of the rim. It popped high into the air, and it dropped gently through the net.
The final score, 138-135 in overtime. Indiana becomes the first team in NBA history to win a playoff game after trailing by 14 or more points in the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Halliburton finished with 31 points. Aaron Nesmith shot 8 of 9 from three-point range and racked in 30 points. Game 2 is tomorrow in New York. And the Indiana Fever are looking to get back into the win column. Tonight, they'll take on the Dream in Atlanta. Tip-off scheduled for 7:30. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, how often on this show do we tell people something's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month, sometimes even 6 months, and then it happens.
Yeah. At least, it seems like at least once a day.
Yeah. And this is why our show does so well, because as the kids like to say, I've lived the life, Case. I know these people, and I know government, and I know how governments operate, especially the local and state governments. And that's part of why our show is so different, is we spend so much time talking about local and state government stuff, because that's actually the government that affects you the most.
The most. Everybody likes to talk about Donald Trump or Biden or whoever's in the White House, but it's your local governments that have the greatest impact on your daily life.
And we're able to break it down for you, unlike anybody else, because all joking aside, I was so involved with it for so many years that I know how these people think. I know how they operate. I know what they're going to do before they know what they're going to do. And one of the things, and I know you got into this very briefly with Micah the other day, and he gave some ridiculous non-answer about it, was we said when they passed Senate Bill 1, the property tax bill, I said the number one thing that's going to start happening is you're going to see local school districts who otherwise would not have gone for a referendum go for a referendum, and they will use Senate Bill 1
as the excuse.
As an excuse. And most of them, many of them, will start passing because they don't have a Rob Kendall in their town. Now, my school system has remained great. They have assured me. There was some concern the other day. I had a long talk with several of the school board members and one of the fine assistant superintendents over there, and they assured me they're not planning on that anytime soon. But a big part of this, they don't want to deal with the crap dealing with me, right? Let's face it. If I weren't there, these things would be happening. But for the communities who don't have somebody with a very loud mouth with a very big platform, they're going to start going for these referendums because now they have a crutch. Even if they don't need it, they say, we're going to go for this. And we can say, well, we didn't want to do it. Senate Bill 1 made us do it. And they're banking on the people being so uninformed that they'll go, yeah, those guys were, it's like Animal House, right? We'll tell everybody you were doing a great job watching Fred's car. And you woke up one day and it was gone. That'll work. It's got to work better than the truth. That's the same thing they're going to do with these referendums. We'll tell everybody we were doing a great job managing their money. We were being so fiscally responsible. And then those mean, pesky people at the governor's mansion and the General Assembly came along and they stole all our money we were spending so responsibly. And I told Braun this when I sat right next to him, and I said, you are going to drive people who don't have to worry about things into having to defeat these school referendums. Well, I don't think that'll happen, but if it does, we'll go help them. And I said, wait a second. I said, you're telling me, I looked right at the governor. I said, you're telling me you're going to go knock on doors in school districts to help them defeat. Well, if I have to, I said, why? I looked at Micah, and Josh Kelly was there, and Micah's chief of staff. And I said, y'all saw this, right? The governor said he'd go knock on doors to defeat school referendums that were caused because of his crap bill.
Well, he's going to have to head to Northwest Allen County because that's where the latest referendum that is being proposed is happening. And this is a biggie.
So that's the Fort Wayne area, but this is important. And we need to look at what happens with this. A couple things these guys did. One, they're such sneaks. Notice the date on when they're going to vote. So the way a referendum works is the governing body has to vote to propose the referendum. So in this case, the school board.
Next school board meeting.
Has to vote to put it on the ballot, right? And if they don't do that, then it wouldn't go on. Notice the date of when, and by the way, Wayne, W-A-N-E, has the full article on this. Notice the date of when they're going to vote to do this. Casey, what is the date? Down at the very bottom of that article.
June 23rd, 1 month from now.
June 23rd. Now, that date is super interesting because when do new laws take effect in the state of Indiana?
Is it June 1st?
July
1st.
July 1st. So these people are so maniacal.
They want to get it in.
Because the change in the law says effective July 1st, referendums cannot be held other than in general elections of even years. Because they one of the nice changes they made is they said, we want, if you're not going to get rid of the referendums, which they should, but in lieu of that, we want to no more of these off-year things where there's nothing for people to vote for. These people are so aware of what's going on and want this money so bad that they're sprinting without any sort of analysis or actually knowing what the impact's going to be. They're just guessing. There's no way they can possibly put this together. But they want the money so bad that they're sprinting to vote on this before July 1st so they can have it November of this year when they know nobody will show up to vote and they can rig the system in favor of them passing the referendum. So that's playing out right in front of us, but yet Braun and Micah and the General Assembly want you to believe that these local governments aren't going to be maxing out your local income tax, which they created a new way for them to do that, by the way. The local governments now couldn't do it before. They can. So when they talk about the lit capacity, they're full of crap because now they've allowed the cities and towns to raise your income tax. So we're led to believe that the same people who are so aware and want the money so bad that they're sprinting to pass this thing to a ballot referendum before July 1st because they know how the law works, that these same types of people aren't going to be raising every tax at every opportunity that was given to them in Senate Bill 1.
So the governor has 4 weeks to knock on doors. How many has he knocked on?
Well, yeah, that's to get it on the ballot. Then once it's on the ballot, then they got to go campaign against it. So then that's when I really want to see, Braun put those sneakers on. Because he told me in front of multiple people, and we should have your relative, if anybody'd like to say it didn't happen, your relative who's the lie detector lady, hook Braun and Josh Kelly and Micah and Sherry up and see if they could pass a lie detector if they try to say Braun didn't say it. I want to see Braun with those sneakers on up there in Fort Wayne knocking on doors to defeat this referendum like he's full of crap. They're full of crap, and this is why I've been so enraged about this, is that they know, oh, Jim, you say that every day, and you're right back here. You don't leave. You live to hate me, so don't even try. These people you're going to, the massive amount of taxation that you are going to see out of Senate Bill 1 that was created and made available through Senate Bill 1 is far going to dwarf anything that anybody is going to produce in terms of savings, which, by the way, all go in a couple of years anyway because the bills keep going up.
So the proposal is $12 million. $12 million.
Which is a lot of money for a school district of that actual size. So the question is, and maybe Hammer and Nigel can ask Braun the next time he's on, because I think he's still going on with them, when he's preparing to head up to Fort Wayne and knock on doors to defeat the school referendum as he promised. And I guess he'll be doing it all across the state because that's what he promised me he was going to do.
Right. Okay, so...
And he'd never make a promise he didn't intend to keep, Casey. You mean like fight. Who owns your house? Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Ron DeSantis says he's ready to get rid of property taxes altogether in Florida.
Yes. Do we have this audio, Kevin? Okay, so Ron DeSantis was asked, he is trying to get rid of property taxes, and he lays out how they would actually do this. Because remember, you are told this is this Herculean, impossible lift here in the state of Indiana, where the system is so broken that it took a 368-page bill to even begin to remotely solve the issue. And Ron DeSantis is like, no, it's actually pretty easy.
So the one objection that I hear is well, this property tax revenue, fine, like a Miami, they have a lot of tourists. They can do like hotel tax or something. They could do something if they needed to backfill revenue. And obviously, they should be focused on reducing spending. But let's say they had to do that. But some of our rural, fiscally constrained counties, wouldn't necessarily be able to do that because they don't have the same stream. We ran the numbers, and if you completely eliminated property tax on every primary resident, homesteaded residence for a Florida resident, for all, we have like 28, 30 fiscally constrained counties, something like that. To backfill all that revenue would be $300 million a year, which for us is easy to do with our surplus. Now, I wouldn't say you would backfill 100% of it because they need to make some adjustments too. But those who say, oh, well, the rural areas wouldn't be able to, I'm totally willing to offer a bridge financially from the state if it means that we can get people to get property tax relief. So I think like every way we look at it, there's ways to get this done. We just got to have leadership.
So remember, at one point, Indiana had a $6 billion surplus, and they deliberately spent it down, they being the General Assembly, along with Holcomb, on one-time expenditures to get it under the exact number to where you wouldn't get a tax refund. Think of all the good, exactly what DeSantis is talking about there, backfilling, for lack of a better term. All the backfilling you could have done to help people with property taxes over the next decade if they had just managed the money responsibly and put you first.
And without any vetoes, Governor Braun has told the legislative leaders that they don't have to return to the State House for Corrections Day on June 10th.
Think about that. All the crap that happened, and there was not one thing where Mr. Fight was like, hey, you know what? I disagree with that. That's not going to be good for people. The tolling, the wheel tax, the property tax debacle, all the utility bills that are going to go up through these SMR technologies, all the budget that raised taxes by $1 billion, all of these, there's not one thing that the General Assembly passed. And by the way, Braun's already said his veto means nothing. He gave it all away. Right. Why do we even have a governor?
Symbolic.
Seriously, what is the point of the governor if there is no check and balance on the General Assembly? As Braun said, he said, I'm not a check and balance on these guys. Why do we even have a governor? What's the point? Why don't we just have some administrator who just administers whatever the General Assembly does? Why does the governor even sign bills if the veto is meaningless?
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Colts owner Jim Irsay has died.
It is impossible to overstate the impact that Jim Irsay has had on the city of Indianapolis.
Now we're world champions.
Monument Circle lit up in Colts blue and white.
Love this city, love the state, love this football team.
Leaves a city that is far larger, more vibrant, and nationally known due to his thumbprint on it.
Remembering Jim Irsay, 93 WIBC.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds in Danville. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds in Danville. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one-stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
At Puccini's, we think less screen time and more quality mealtime is the better way. Eat, talk, and dine with less blue light glaring or talking heads blaring while enjoying great food at a reasonable price is the Puccini's way. Dine in for hot, delicious food prepared fresh and to your liking. If you need anything, we're right there so you'll leave full and happy. We have delivery options and carryout, but let's start dining in together again the way we all used to enjoy so much.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Hey, it looks like Jamie Knoll's wife might be headed to the pokey.
Yeah, she pled guilty to 5 counts of theft and 5 counts of tax evasion.
All right, so let's reset who this person is. I know most of you have heard this a lot, but it's really a massive story that even despite the coverage it's received has not been nearly enough. So Jamie Knoll was the former sheriff of Clark County. That's Jeffersonville. He was also the Republican chairman of Clark County, and he was one of the most powerful Republicans in the state as he was part of the Central Committee. He was also one of the deciding votes to make Eric Holcomb the Republican nominee for governor in 2016 when Pence left to work with Trump, and one of the architects and leaders of Holcomb's campaign, and was undeniably one of Eric Holcomb's best friends, if not his actual best friend. There's all sorts of photographic evidence to support this. Some of it has disappeared off the internet. Luckily, the internet has a very long memory, and there's always ways to find things, Casey. And nothing says, yeah, that's probably right, like someone deleting something off of the internet. And Jamie Knoll also was a star of a television show, I believe it was called 60 Days In which he allowed real people to go undercover into the Clark County Jail. There were hidden cameras. They recorded things, and then they reported back to the law enforcement officers. Jamie Knoll is now in the pokey for immense abuse of his position, both as a county sheriff and then overseeing a volunteer fire department, and misusing, abusing, and pilfering millions of dollars from said groups and entities. He pled guilty to that. He admitted he did it, multiple millions of dollars. His daughter was wrapped up in this. His wife is wrapped up in this. I believe his daughter has been in jail, is about to get out of jail, and now coinciding with that, his wife is about to plead guilty pending the acceptance of a plea by a judge and head to the pokey for being in on it as well.
Yeah, so the plea date was chosen to align with Misty's release around the time that her daughter was completing the 4.5-month sentence that she served. So this all stems from misuse of over $660,000 taken from the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters Association.
That's her portion of it.
Her portion, right. And some of these stolen funds were spent on makeup, clothing, vacations, travel, and even college tuition.
So, again, and by the way, I believe, when we talk about college tuition, one of the things that Eric Holcomb is photographed doing is checking in on Knoll's daughter at college. One of the photos that I think disappeared was of Holcomb being surrogate dad and checking in on Knoll's daughter. I don't know if it was that particular daughter or not. So the bigger question, once again, must be asked. How is it possible that the governor saw arguably his best friend, his wife, his daughter, who he's very close with, not just the guy, but the family, living millions of dollars above their means, paying for this college that there's no logical way they would be paying for these sorts of things, given where various people went to higher learning institutions. Knoll living millions of dollars above his lifestyle, the wife with hundreds of thousands above her lifestyle. And at no point did the governor, who, by the way, he's the governor, which means he has access to just about anything he wants on anyone, had no idea that his best buddy was pulling this little schemerino off. How is that possible, Casey? And nobody in the media seems to want to ask Holcomb about this while he was governor or today.
I don't know. He was governor. Maybe his access was just symbolic. So these are the details of the plea deal. It's a 6-year sentence, 1.5 years in prison, 4.5 years suspended to probation. So she's likely going to serve 13.5 months. It is a level 5 felony and has to pay $660,000 in restitution.
You know, it's the same thing with old Tippy Toe Diego that we've been asking. Like, why won't people ask the questions? Why won't people make Eric Holcomb answer how it's humanly possible that his best buddy is jetting around and buying homes and top-line suits and cigars and guns, and you got the wife who he knows is living hundreds of thousands of dollars above her means, the daughter who he's checking in on, she's a part of it. How is it possible that the governor wouldn't have known that one of his closest political allies and personal amigos is doing all this, and at no point is like, somebody should really look into what, like, how are you pulling that off day after day on a sheriff's salary? Like, what? I know the commissary fund might be good there, but it's probably not, you know, not that good. But it's the same thing with Diego. Nobody will ask the question, and that should be the biggest red flag of all. The dude disappears to India for 10 days. You know he's there with some guy who's got a state contract, who's bragging about selling EB-5 visas, and no lawmaker, no Micah, no Braun, no Daniel Elliott, no Elise Nishalis, no Rokita. Rokita, he's totally in bed with Diego now. Oh, Diego's great. Rokita fired Diego. How is it possible that you could be endorsing, supporting, and giving money to? Because didn't that come out? Rokita gave money to Diego's reelection campaign. How could that be possible that you have such a love affair for a guy that paperwork says you thought was such an incompetent boob, you fired him from the office? Right. And nobody other than us asked these questions, Casey.
Yeah. Well, I did ask somebody. I asked Micah Beckwith about it, and he said that it was the legislator's responsibility to find out.
Yeah, you know, Micah was such a Billy badass when he was running for lieutenant governor, when he was running for that convention seat. Remember at those events we went to, and he was there, I'm going to take on the whole state house, and they can bring it, and if they don't like it, I don't care. And then you ask him, and he's like, well, I'll ask him, but not on stage. That's the job of the General Assembly. These guys, it's all, you know, we talked about this earlier with like Marlon Stutzman. These guys, and you know, what happened with Micah, and it's very obvious, and it's very sad, is Micah refused to restrain himself when he got in there, and against the advice of many people with any amount of common sense, he bought this ridiculously luxurious car, and he got compromised. And this is how the establishment works with people. And you saw it work with guys like Jim Lucas, who were Billy Badass, Johnny Tough guys until, well, he drove drunk and blew through the barricade and fled the scene and lied to the cops. And do you hear a word out of Jim Lucas anymore?
No.
He's a real good boy now, isn't he?
Well, they kept him around.
Yeah. They
put him in his place.
Yeah.
And said, okay, you did this now, you're ours.
Yeah, exactly.
We own you now.
And I told Micah when he went in there, I said, Micah, what these guys do, because I've seen it happen firsthand, is the people they don't like, they find their weakness. Everybody's got a weakness. They find their weakness and they exploit it. And I told Micah, I said, your weakness is you like to talk too much, and your weakness is a lack of restraint, and boy, howdy. And now look, what is Micah? He's a good boy. He does what he says. I'll ask him, but not on stage, Casey. That's the job of the General Assembly. Can you imagine hearing that from Micah Beckwith a year ago? Remember when we went to Tony Samuel's house? That guy who was speaking there? Can you imagine Micah Beckwith if somebody had asked him, Micah, there are serious allegations of potential public corruption with the Secretary of State. Will you hold him accountable? Well, I'll ask him, but not on stage in front of everyone. That's the job of the General Assembly.
That voice is cracking.
It's like a different human. Am I wrong?
No.
I mean, you were there. You were at that event. Can you imagine that guy saying that he said to you? I heard it. I went back and listened to it. You did a great job. Boy, howdy.
I was just there for the hors d'oeuvres.
But I mean, I thought you did a great job interviewing him yesterday or the other day. And boy, he didn't want any part of talking about, did he really say, or did my ears deceive me, that when you asked him about him not disclosing to us that Diego gave him all that money, that he actually said out of the hands of the wicked and into the righteous?
Yes.
So Diego's wicked and he's righteous in the equation?
Well, he said that he would take money from anybody.
Oh, that's right. Including Planned Parenthood. Is that what he said? I just I look at this, but it's all these guys. It's Lucas. It's Marlon. It's Micah. It's all of these people who they say all the right things.
But they'll say anything to get elected, and once they get into office, they change.
Yeah, that's
It's a tale as old as time, Rob.
Micah, and it's so sad that guys like Micah are so short-sighted, because if he actually did publicly hold Diego accountable, if he actually did get up on that stage and say, we ain't leaving here until you tell us. And Micah's a talented guy. He can play the guitar. He sings songs. He could filibuster the heck out of that event.
Yeah, he could.
He's an incredibly talented guy. He would be a hero. All these people he's alienated or offended, they would love him if he was the guy that got to the bottom. Most people know. It sounds like Micah. It sounds like in that interview he told you he knew who funded Diego's trip.
He said that he had a good idea.
Then say it. We all know. Say it. Just say it out loud. Can you imagine that guy?
Say the name.
That guy last year going, I think I know, but I'm not going to say. That's the job of the General Assembly.
You're listening to Kendall Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
The death of Colts owner Jim Irsay. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Reaction coming in today from former players, coaches, and also fans. Irsay passed away Wednesday afternoon at the age of 65. Former coach Tony Dungy says he's glad that their paths crossed.
Jim was one of the most compassionate people that I have ever known.
Irsay was owner of the team since 1997. 41-year-old Zachary Arnold is charged with murder in connection to the death of his 5-year-old daughter from earlier this week. IMPD says he strangled her and tied a noose around her neck. The state of Indiana is facing an estimated annual shortfall of $600 to $800 million needed to maintain current road conditions. That has sparked a recent conversation about tolls. The Pacers with a massive come-from-behind win in New York last night to take Game 1 over the Knicks, 138-135 in overtime, and the Fever are back on the court this evening with the Dream in Atlanta for the first road contest of the season. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Come on, Indy. Don't use the spring to paint your house year after year. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text PACK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PEC to 321-321. That's PACK to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today. Today.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will.
How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Heat and cool with nearly geothermal efficiency in places you can't fit ductwork with Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits.
Just go to absolutecomfort.org. That's absolutecomfort.org.
The Attorney General's Office, reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every week. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov or text Hammer and Nigel to 46220 today.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Okay, he's 73, she's 24. Is that right? And now they're engaged?
Well,
is it official?
Well, this is according to her, that she has been telling people that they're engaged, and Daily Mail just came out with a story that said Bill Belichick appears to confirm engagement after Jordan Hudson told people she is set to marry NFL legend.
Okay, I feel like there's a missing step in the equation here because, look, I'm the, as you know, my theory, as long as everybody's in a bar, let's roll, right? Like, if everybody's old enough to be in a bar, we can all do all the same thing. Stop laughing, Kevin. You agree. You know that's true. And my wife and I are 15 years difference, so I'm not judging. I mean, look, 50 years is a lot, right? But she's a lot to handle.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice. You are arguably the most famous football coach ever. You're arguably the most successful football coach ever. You're stupid rich. You could have any hot young chick you want, and you're dealing with her. What am I missing? I don't care how good it is. It ain't that good.
Apparently, Belichick's daughter-in-law is not a big fan. She was posting stuff on Instagram criticizing Jordan Hudson's behavior during that CBS interview. So friends have been questioning what's going on, and now family members are being public about it as well, saying we're not happy about this.
So what's the? I mean, I get the attraction. She's fine. I mean, she's probably a Broad Rebel 8. I mean, she's pretty well assembled, but she ain't that well assembled to deal with that bullcrap, Casey. I mean, she's mouthy, she's mean, she just it's constant like barking him around. Why would he deal with that?
She makes him feel funny in all the right places. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that other than
more than that.
They're having sparkling conversations. She's talking football plays with him. I mean, what else is it?
She's on the field.
She makes him feel young.
She's on the field barking at the guy. I mean, she's on you. They're seeing the videos. She's like bossing him around at practice and stuff. Remember that CBS interview where she's like, "Don't answer that."
So is he having issues that haven't been disclosed?
Well, I think he was having issues. I think that's why she came into the picture. He was having issues. The problem is, whatever she did for those issues, she's created a whole new list of issues.
I think he kind of enjoys being barked at. Like
he's one of those guys.
He likes being knocked down a little bit
he's
because
one
he's
of
always
those
been the
guys.
authoritative figure.
Kev coming in for the win. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I didn't think about
It's
that.
like, I don't want to make any more decisions. You do it. You handle it. And she took over.
No, I think Kev's
he wants to be smacked down.
venturing into a different genre of what he likes, why he likes being barked. And not that he doesn't want to make the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He just, I don't understand any of this. You're like, I'm sure his family is totally perplexed because his son's a football coach too. Was his defensive coordinator or something when he was with the Patriots, and I think he coaches in college now. And they're probably look at this like, what? You still have all your faculties. You're still mentally together. What are you? Why? Why would you do this to yourself? I don't understand. So we need to pray for Bill Belichick.
Because she makes him feel funny.
Yeah, it ain't got good, Casey.
Right
I don't care. I don't care what the interview process was like. That is not the or whatever answers were given. It ain't worth that.
NFL owners also voted 22-10 against banning the tush push, the brotherly shove, something.
This is the Eagles play because they have Jalen Hurts, whose legs should have zip codes. And
so you're going to be seeing more of that.
They allow him to be pushed by a running back behind him into the end zone or for a first down. I hate this play. I don't think it should be legal at all.
Somebody could get hurt.
Well, I think it's eventually somebody's going to get seriously hurt. I mainly don't like it because it really helps their team and not mine. But, that's a fan move, right? Bears have Caleb Williams, who's the size of a toothpick.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, a look back at the life of Colts owner Jim Irsay, plus a Pacers stunning Game 1 victory and free Indy 500 tickets. 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church, and Vacation Bible School is going to run through June the 13th, June 9th through the 13th at all Life Church locations. That's Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Adventure awaits kids ages 4 years old through 5th grade. So you've been looking for something great for your kids to do this summer. You're saying they're out of school. What do we do? Vacation Bible School, Life Church, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, June 9th through the 14th. Learn more about it all. Register online, lifechurchin.com, lifechurchin.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center. Centers.
You ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes based out of Greenfield. See one of their model homes in person anytime. It is a great way for you to experience the customization and quality of a Joyner Homes custom built home. Plus, you can meet with a new home specialist to learn about their building process. Available lots if you don't already have one. Find out about floor plans and where they build. Model homes are open 7 days a week from noon to 5 and walk-ins are welcome. Find out more at joynerhomes.com.
I'm a proud owner of B Window.
I'm a proud B Window owner.
I'm a proud B Window owner.
When you work with a local, employee-owned home improvement company like B Window, quality comes first because your home improvements are a reflection of our business. And for a limited time, we're extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust local, trust employee-owned, trust your home to be.
Trust me.
Trust Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
It's JMV. The Memorial Day sale is on at Miss M's Home and Garden in Bargersville. 20% off contender trees and shrubs and 30% off pottery. State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road.
Big stories locally, big moves in Washington. WIBC.com keeps you updated throughout the day with all the news that matters, plus traffic, weather, and more on your phone, your laptop, wherever you are. It's news when you need it.
I'm gonna rid myself a house in the shade of the freeway.
Casey, did you see this report that's coming out from Congress that alleges the Biden administration withheld information about the risks of getting the COVID shot?
That doesn't surprise me at all. I have not seen the report, but I'm not shocked to hear that one bit. Tell me more. Say more words.
So it's the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. Daily Mail, amongst many, many other news outlets, has an article about it. And what the report is basically saying, like myocarditis and other potential heart impacts, that they were getting, they being the U.S. government, was getting information from other countries about, hey, this vaccine could be causing severe damage or death to people.
Yeah, there's some risks.
And you need to be letting people know that this is a possibility. And according to this report from Congress, that the Biden administration basically went to Fauci and said, hey, you totally downplay the risk of myocarditis. And they used the quote that the reported cases, quote, have been mild and often go away without requiring treatment. So they gave him the talking point of basically saying, Don't act like this is any big deal. You talk about the benefits of this thing, and that's it.
Yeah, so instead of, hey, there are some risks, like you see with any medication, any commercial on TV, they say there are some side effects. If you're experiencing nausea, diarrhea, any of these things, contact your doctor, discontinue use. Instead, we didn't get any of the risks associated with it. We got dancing nurses and all the late night talk show hosts guilting you that you're going to kill grandma if you don't take this shot.
And I think what the frustrating thing about all of this is not whether there was this shot available and people chose to get it. Because people make health choices all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You make health choices for your children. You make health choices for yourself. Get all the information. Make the choices that are best for you and your family. It was the intense, never-ending pressure, and then in many cases, punishment if you didn't do this thing that clearly was not vetted in the manner, at best, you would say it was not vetted in the manner that other drugs, other shots, other things, the rigorous scrutiny that they're forced to go through.
Yeah, it was, your job was threatened. You were ostracized in your community in many cases. You weren't allowed to go certain places, all because of this, experimental vaccine.
Yeah, I think about what I went through here, in which I was forced to go up to the 7th floor, meet with an HR person and an attorney, and basically had to convince them of why I didn't have to get this shot or why I should
plead your case.
Yeah. I mean, it was, now I'm not going to use the term embarrassed. I was embarrassed. And
embarrassed
by the way,
for them.
The HR lady was wonderful, and I felt bad for her because she's the same lady that I had to take the COVID test each week in front of. And I caught on very quickly when she wasn't even watching me do the thing.
So what, you had to go up there and like swab your nose in front of her?
Every week I had to go up and do that test.
Because what, you couldn't do it at home and say I'm good? They didn't believe that?
And I felt so bad for her because I got to know her pretty well. And you could tell.
Well, yeah, if you had a weekly meeting.
She didn't want any part of this. She felt bad for me that I had to do it. I mean, in this building, you think about the amount of employees that worked for MS, and I think there were like 5 or 6 of us that held out. And I think I was the only like on-air person that held out because obviously that would have been publicized. And it wasn't just you had to go up and do this COVID test. And I always used to laugh. I said, because they would have me do it at like 8:45 on Monday morning. And I always would tell our bosses, okay, let's say I test positive. First of all, these tests aren't even accurate anyway. But let's say I get a positive test. I get to waltz out of here and get paid to go home. What about Mock? She now has to do a show without any prep.
Right.
By herself.
Right. They're going to be able to call somebody in at the last minute.
You guys aren't punishing me. I go home and get paid. And if I'm not
Sounds like that wasn't thought through.
No, but none of it was thought through. And that's the point of all this. And so every week I had to go take that test. And then there was the tattletale police. Oh, for a while, here's the other part that I forgot about. For a while, they were making me pay to take the test.
What do you mean?
Like I had to pay them for the kit to take the test. Okay. And then at some point, the state changed the law or something, and then they didn't. And then once they stopped making me be able to make me pay for the test, the test stopped.
Yeah.
You think about, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm not sick. I'm not showing any symptoms. All these a lot of these tests are wrong anyway. And then they had the tattletale police where they tried to shame you by I had to wear a mask and nobody else did. Like, of course, that was crap too. That didn't stop anything either. And they had people on this floor. Now, I don't think any of these people are here anymore, but they would tell 7th floor if Rob was caught walking to the bathroom without his mask on. Of course, there's nobody here, right? I mean, the only people you're around, just like it is for us now.
Report him to the proper authorities.
And they would call you up there and go, now, you have been given an exemption from the vaccine, and there are rules for that. And if you are caught not wearing your mask again, like they treated you like you were a little kid. And I told the lady, and at one point she laughed. I said, have you told them this public shaming stuff? I'm the wrong guy to try that with.
Right, that doesn't work on me.
Like that, but they made you like a Scarlet Letter character, and it was because of this crap information or these crap demands that were being handed out by Joe Biden and, well, I mean, to an extent Trump as well, because they didn't do anything to stop it either.
Right. You know what it really reminds me of? It was like they settled on this is going to be the message, and we're sticking with it. And in a way, it reminds me of our governor with the property tax bill. Like, okay, this is the direction we're going, and we're just going to keep at this message no matter what. Even when we get new information in, we're going to stick with the original message and just bang you over the head with it.
Yeah, it did. The shot didn't work. It didn't stop anybody from getting COVID. Clearly, there appears to be irrefutable evidence at this point of people who were perfectly healthy who got the thing. Hey, would you like to tell us about your house?
And the multiple surgeries and the autoimmune diseases and everything.
So think about this. Now, correct me if I'm telling the story wrong, but your husband and you got the vaccine because of work stuff. You were pressured to do it or made to do it, whatever, because of work. Your daughter got it because she was a college student.
Well, Purdue mandated it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So all of the people in your house who did this, now maybe you would have done it anyway, but you were pressured, forced, whatever, into doing it. Your husband and daughter, who have no health issues,
correct,
go to get the vaccine at the same place at the same time.
Right.
You go somewhere else.
At a different time.
At a different time. They end up with very similar serious health effects within
the same time frame
that they had no history of.
Correct.
You do not get those.
Correct.
And we're led to believe that's just a coincidence that those two who got the shot at the same place at the same time will come down with similar serious medical ramifications, which will stay with them for the rest of their lives, by the way.
Yep.
That's a coincidence they got it and you didn't.
And the good news is we get to continue to pay into that forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm the bad guy for going, man, I don't really know a lot about that vaccine yet. And I'm going to hold off on that. But in the time and the sphere in which we worked, I was deemed the bad person.
The government would like to tell me that that's just all a coincidence. And I think back at that time, because I had just arrived to Grand Rapids, and there was somebody, an employee there, who had tested positive for COVID. And they literally put police tape up on the bathroom because she had been in the bathroom. Like, don't go in there. They had it cleaned. They had it disinfected, but they put police tape up. Do not enter this area. I mean, that's how paranoid the government made you.
And before we go, I will say this. You know, I was blessed at the time. I didn't have to make the choice people like Hammer did or Mock did, which is I have a family to support. And if you think they're actually going to pull the trigger and fire you, then that was a different ballgame for me. Now, I would have been crushed if I'd lost my job here.
Yeah.
But I was willing to go down, and but I didn't have the ramifications of having a wife and a daughter to support back then. And I think I still would have made the same choice because you got to look your family in the mirror, and I just felt like I would have had a hard time doing that if I'd have given in. But the point is, the people who had to do it are in no way in the wrong. The people who are in the wrong are the government, who mandated employers into this, who
had information and didn't give it to you. Lack of transparency.
Right. I'm not in any way blaming anybody who got the shot, but it's just this whole thing is gross. Biden is gross. Trump did nothing to stop it. Trump enabled this. Trump propped Fauci and those guys up and the shutdowns and lockdowns. People like Holcomb are gross.
I don't blame Trump as much just because the information was just coming out and he was trying to, I believe, make right decisions. Biden had that information and suppressed it.
That uplifting note, it's time to go.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary